for an anticlimactic experience. Welcome one, welcome all.
Hello there.
See, we got a few guys looking at us, but nobody's talking yet. So anyway, yeah, tonight we're just doing a bullshit session, talking about a few things, maybe a little bit of brewing stuff, some preserving if we want to get into that, or just random crap. Keep politics to a minimum if we can. Um, and yes,
I
Rhino
think
is
we've had
coming.
enough of that the last few days.
Oh, definitely. I'm so disappointed with all of it, but yeah. Anyway, let's move on from that. Sean has a new chair, and it
I
looks
do.
nice, actually.
It's not a DX racer, but it's just as expensive.
Sure.
But we'll take time. I've got 30 days to figure it out. So if it's
And
one of those we just really don't like it, or if it has a catastrophic muck up, then I can just take it back. Or I
yeah.
could use the warranty, get something better.
Well, you'll know at 20 days if it's going to work or not, because by then it's going to be
Yeah.
broke in.
Well, I know my lower back is not used to having that little pillow there, so it
Hmm.
feels good, but it feels uncomfortable at the same time because you're not
Yeah.
used to it.
It's weird. Well, and it makes you sit up straight, and
Yep.
that's what you need too. That's the crazy part. You don't realize it.
Yeah. No, I have to. I've always had bad posture, so I've got to forcefully, shape my back and put
Hmm.
my shoulders back to create good posture. Otherwise, it's just
Yeah. The hunch over slouch. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's what makes
that
my
it's not going
belly
to be
look
good for my
fat.
back. Yeah, it's not going to be good for my back here in the next 10 to 20 years. So while we're doing that, I'm going to go close my door because the kiddo I think started playing Fortnite.
Yeah, it sounds like he's a little excited, which is no surprise. Blaze is usually pretty excitable. Oh, we tried to get Rhino in here, but he was being a jackass and didn't want to come in. Um, you know, typical Rhino. He might show up, who knows.
Yep.
Outlaw said he was on the way. He'll
All
probably be
right.
here shortly. Hopefully Edmund will show up because I'll tell him what I'm thinking about doing with his acorns. He sent me a pound of acorns with a small package that was roasted and seasoned and one that was just raw from the lychee.
Mm,
And I'm thinking I'm going to make a maple acorn brown ale
okay.
and see
I
how it
don't know
turns
what
out.
acorn tastes like, so I have no idea about that flavor profile.
I tried some yesterday after I got them. In fact, he messaged me and he said, "Dude, the package is there." And I'm like, "What? Really? Okay, let me go check." Because FedEx, UPS, Amazon, none of the deliveries, none of them hardly ever knock on the door or ring the doorbell. They just dump the package and run away. So
Like bail,
anyway, yeah,
bang, and leave.
yeah. So yeah, he when he said, "Hey, it should be there," and I said, "Okay, well, let me go check it." It was there, sitting right on my doorstep. It's like, okay, cool. Got them out, tried some. They don't have a lot of, how do I put it? They're kind of hard to describe. You leach them to get the acidity and the, what do they call it? The alkaline flavor out of them.
Okay.
It's not acidity; it's alkaline, I believe. Um, because they're exceedingly bitter if you don't. So I wasn't noticing the bitter. He definitely did a good job of soaking them. Um, but they're not. They don't have a really distinct flavor like any nut you would eat
Is it kind of
normally.
like a flavor additive to the
No,
main or the main flavor?
It's really hard to describe. They don't taste bad, but they really don't taste like much other than crunchy.
Other than crunchy.
Yeah, I mean, the flavor is just kind of forgettable, honestly. I could see where they would have crushed them and used them in a flour to make flatbread, but they
Mm-hmm.
would have had to add some other stuff to it to make it something enjoyable. Otherwise, it's just sustenance because it's definitely protein and oils and vitamins and shit. But yeah, they're kind of. I'm wondering how it's going to turn out with the beer. That's why I was thinking make it a maple acorn to give it a little extra kick. Maybe that'll bring out. I'll
Mm-hmm.
do some experimenting with it. But my idea is to treat them like I do my cacao nibs, which are the precursor to chocolate,
Yep.
um, but to make an extract with them in vodka, like you would vanilla extract,
Ooh.
and
Okay.
then add that to the secondary fermentation of the beer. And I think that will impart more flavor than if I was to put them in the wort or the boil. So we'll have to wait and see. Brook and Pine, you can come on in anytime you want, dude. I know you don't care for the live stream thing, but you're more than welcome. When this shit stuff. Yeah, that's from Gilded. Anyway.
Oh, okay. Because I'm looking at comments. I'm like, wait a minute.
Who's he talking about? No, I was looking at Gilded. Yeah, Broken Pine was making a comment.
When the shit talking stops, be wary.
Be
Yes.
wary. Very, very
Yeah, because
true.
if you have to talk to anybody that you know as if you're walking on glass, that's not a good relationship.
My my point at that point is just get away from it.
Yep. Oh,
It's
somebody's got zoomies.
uh-oh. Yeah, I saw the little black tail running by. It's because the door's closed, she can't escape.
Yep. Well, it's there to prevent the dog from coming in and
Oh
the
yeah, I know.
noise from the little one.
From Blaze's shit talking on Farscape or whatever the hell it is.
Yep. Well, no, Farscape is actually a pretty decent TV show, or it used to
Right.
be.
I just am not up to it the games anymore. I haven't played hardly anything in forever.
Mhm.
And it's
Well,
funny, I really don't
I
miss it.
like my single player games
Mm,
because I can play them when I want. I don't got to worry about getting um oh, answering outlaw here.
that scroll up, dipshit.
Well, actually, you did not provide a StreamYard link. You only
I
provided YouTube.
no, that was the first link I put up.
In Fapping Facility, it is just a YouTube link.
Oh, oh shit, I did not. All right. All right. Well, let's get that damn thing up
All right,
in Gilded.
I'll take care of it.
Okay. Well, you don't have to. I was going to do it. I thought I swear I did, and it's not there. My bad, Outlaw. My bad.
There we go. We got that taken care of.
All right.
So our esteemed friends can join us. But randos on YouTube, probably not ready for that yet.
Nah. Well, and there are no real randos in the channel right now because there's only 3 watching,
Mm-hmm.
which tells me it's St. Louis Arch
Yep.
because he was laughing at us and you and I.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was laughing about us calling Rhino a C word.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's the one that that says it the most. So we're just
Yep.
throwing it right back at them.
There are very few individuals other than the English and the Aussies that call somebody that word that
Yep.
often. And
Oh yes.
honestly, I love using it.
Oh, what is it? I was seeing a video because apparently in Australia they're trying to hamper down on the use of that word.
Mm-hmm.
And there, a lady was, I think it was a short. She she's a citizen there. She's an immigrant, a legal immigrant,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, to me, I've been here for like 10 years now. Saying that is the most Australian thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, that makes sense for every Aussie that I know or see online.
Hmm? Honestly, it's like calling somebody a little shit. Really,
Mhm.
that's about it. It doesn't really hold any
It's a
meaning
little
anymore.
more advanced,
Yeah, it's got more, but
but
it's
Americans or the other Westerners take more offense to that than
right. Well,
the the English and the Aussies.
mostly it's the and dare I say it, the feminist cunts that we deal with.
Well, if you're going to behave like one, don't be surprised when somebody calls you one.
Right. A spade is a spade.
Mhm.
Sorry.
And sometimes they're not saying it to be mean; they're just calling
Mm-mm.
out bad behavior,
Yep.
and there's no reason to do that. Like, kiddo, that's one of his things. Don't call me this, Dad.
Mm.
Or I'll say, you're behaving like a moron right now. Don't call me a moron. I didn't. I said you're behaving like one.
Mm-hmm.
When you change your behavior, you're no longer behaving like one. Oh, you do this just to make me angry. I'm like, no, I do this to
No.
call out bad behavior to correct it because if we don't do it, somebody else will. But the older you get, the more likelihood of fists correcting you on that is going to occur.
Right. Uh-oh. Oh.
We got a squirrel.
We got a squirrel in here. He says, hold up, but he hasn't entered the channel.
Oh, because we got a good quick intro video for him.
Oh, is that what it is?
Uh huh.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Awesome timing.
Nice. Yeah. Sweet. Had to mute Discord over there.
Oh, they're being loud.
Yeah. Chaos and Jackal and all them.
Oh, that's right. They're playing Killing Floor right now. So
Yeah.
lots
all the
of oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no,
all
and
the
Oh God,
miscreants.
God,
no.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh God, no.
Sounds like my honeymoon.
All right. What are we talking about, guys?
Oh,
Yeah.
you name it.
Yes.
Yeah. Brewing, and I think we're done making fun of Rhino for now.
Yeah. He might show up now that we actually got a link up. I forgot to do that. Could have
Yeah, he
swore I
might.
did it, but I didn't. And brewing, preserving. We were discussing a little bit. Edmund sent me a pound of acorns,
Ooh.
and I'm
Hey,
thinking about doing a beer with them, and I've got some ideas.
Edmund, give me
Yeah,
back my
Edmund.
acorns.
You ain't getting these acorns back.
Give me back
Nope.
my acorns. Those are
Give
mine.
me.
Those are mine.
He'd probably send you some if you asked for him.
Yeah, probably.
You come in my tree, steal my acorns. Mm, I don't like it.
So what's been going on
Nobody
with
said you
you,
had to
man?
like it.
No.
Oh, nothing much. Nothing much.
Well, that's disappointing. I was expecting some pandemonium.
Um, well, the people in my picture is in terror, I guess.
Well, I was going to say, how brokenhearted are you about 40 Hooters closing?
What?
I have not heard that. I did not know that was
Oh,
a
you
thing.
guys didn't see that?
I did not.
That was national news. Yeah, they closed 40 underperforming, as they call it, Hooters restaurants a week ago.
I kind of figured. I kind of figure it's intentional.
It is. Well, we're going to see more and more of it. Look at what they're doing to California. I mean, after they did that stupid $20 mandatory,
Mm-hmm.
there's been a very large number of restaurants closing. And they were already on the edge anyway, and then they did that, and it's like, we just can't compete. Broken Pine. Yep, Hookers is in trouble.
Hookers is in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
There he is. I see him now.
Yep.
Don't worry.
And then
Don't worry.
Hooters
I'm always
spelling
gonna have.
mistake.
Don't worry. I'm always gonna have my Hooters chick as an avatar, even though she's.
Well, now you're not going to get sued for it.
Well, Hooters sounds like that kind of restaurant. You only need one per either major city or per state.
Yep.
You don't need several of them.
Well, and I don't know if there's still one in the state of Washington. There was one in Lidwood, but it closed like 10 years ago.
Well, and again, in this modern times where political correctness is everything, a restaurant like Hooters surviving another 10 years, honestly, is not in the cards, I don't think. I'm surprised that it's survived this long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that either city or state mandates say that they have to employ certain size of people.
Yeah.
In a quota.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. And you see my avatars. That's how they actually dress, minus the heels.
Well, everybody remembers how that's one of the perks of the restaurant.
Right.
Yeah.
Is you understand you're going to find very fit and attractive looking waitresses. That's the draw. That's what gets people in the door.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, you can look, but don't touch.
Right.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people break that rule, and I understand the reason behind or their desires behind that, but it's also one way to get a chair fucking put over your head too.
Right. Or assault charges and in jail.
But it's not just. Go ahead.
One of the things that I've noticed, the Hooters has got this image, and yeah, they're fairly well endowed ladies that are pretty, but they're not about pushing it in your face. This isn't a freaking lap dance place. They're there to serve fast food and be nice. I mean, honestly, it's not a bad place to take your kids to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like the car hop of the 50s. All those girls were wearing short shorts on roller skates.
Oh, yeah.
Serving you a burger with fries and a milkshake, come on. They weren't going there for the food. Trust me. Those high school boys.
They don't go there now for food for the most part.
Well, there's an alternative now, but this is what they have to wear at the Waffle House.
Ugh.
Fucking body armor.
Fucking body armor. Yeah, flak jacket.
Yeah, that one doesn't. I don't know if that's a plate carrier or just a regular, like Kevlar lined one. It's not going to do much. That's like good for stabs, not pew pews.
Well, and now, Kevlar's not good for stabs, though. Your plate carrier is what you want for stabs. Kevlar's better for the high impact, high velocity impacts. But you were saying Outlaw.
Yeah, because the strands, the individual strands create, what is it? It distributes the energy, not enough to go unscathed, but
it
distributes
absorbs
it
the
enough
force.
so when it hits you, the best you're going to get is bruising. If it's
Right.
only one hit, you get
And
multiple
and the
hits.
bruise is like
It's
this
only good for
big.
about.
Right.
Oh well, it's just like if you get into a bad car accident with
Mm-hmm.
your seatbelt strap, you'll have a bruise all along that if you have a bad enough accident.
Mm-hmm.
The girls know they'll be ogled. Yeah, I mean, they make the self-conscious choice to put on that uniform and go to the job every day.
Yep.
I mean,
That's
I
how
don't
they
feel,
get their tips.
I don't feel sorry for them being eye candy to the public.
No.
I don't.
That's how tips happen.
Yeah.
They willfully do that. Now, when it comes to actually forcing yourself upon them, yeah, that's the problem
Mm-hmm.
because that does happen.
Yep.
But as far as them voluntarily putting the uniform on and getting up there and serving people, taking tips, all that, no, I don't feel sorry for them that they're getting ogled. You knew what the job was. You
Well,
make that self-conscious choice.
women use their sexuality to get favors over other women and men all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
They
Yeah,
don't have
I
to
mean,
engage in sexual activities, but they can make you think and imagine, and they see that reflected in their tips.
yeah. Now, when they get touched and uh, people force themselves on them and try to touch their ass, that's a problem.
Yep.
Yeah, that's when it gets to be okay.
Well,
What do
that's
you do
criminal
now?
assault.
Right.
You know. And by the way, I want to redirect here a little bit. Cliff, get that damn thing out of the house now.
Yeah.
If you got mold in that thing and or critter, yeah, get it out of there. Yeah, don't ever put any more food in it. Just get it gone.
I wonder, is that his or
No, it's
looks
his
like his
brother's.
brother's?
He's helping out his brother, and he was trying to help him fix the fridge, and it's
No, yeah, no. I would
yeah,
rather
get that out of the
destroy
house.
a $500, $600 fridge
Mm-hmm.
because of shit inside it, because that alone is a biohazard.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
rather, fucking seal the doors and throw it. I'm sure wherever he is, there's a proper place to dispose of such things, because that's something you can't typically just drop off at a landfill.
No. Well, some landfills will take them, but you have to remove the compressor and the refrigerant. Once those are gone, you're usually safe.
I mean,
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, Cliff.
yeah, true. I mean, you guys know why I like them. I have a fetish. I like the shorts, the nylons, everything. It's just I'm old school.
You're just a
Hooters,
perv. Don't worry about it.
Hooters has always been. It's always been one of my favorite places to ogle women with my eyeballs. But
Well, in today's day and age, a man who looks at a woman with lust, they're just a perv.
Yeah.
You can't sit there and go, you know what? She looks fine. She looks great. And let alone vocalize it. Unless it depends on, well, we all know the meme. Chad comes over and says, hey, you're looking good today. No kind of innuendo. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
the thing about it,
person does it. She's calling HR instead of Googling, or
Right.
not Googling, but like having googly eyes.
well, if you think about it, Hooters represents a piece of our past, right? It's in modern PC culture, Hooters is actually a very outdated model of
Mhm.
how to get the value out of female waitresses, I guess you'd say, in a restaurant. Now, while men still enjoy it, and I really enjoy seeing them. I love it. Honestly, it just doesn't. Yeah, I know. I don't
And
know
they
what
don't
it
even
is.
wear Daisy Dukes. Those
I
are
don't know if
volleyball jean or
I
shorts.
don't know if it's the legs. I don't know if it's. I don't know what it is about it. I just love the Hooters girl. I love the way they look. I don't know. I used it as my model for the avatar, and I like it. But it honestly, it's being serious. Getting back seriously, it's. I'm amazed, like I said a while ago, of how long it's actually lasted in this modern culture. And it's not the only restaurant that does this. There's Twin Peaks. You've got what are them other restaurants where they use the women to dress in like little shorts and shit like that? I mean,
Well, there are restaurants that where the theme of it is girls in bikinis, really
Yeah.
really skimpy bikinis.
Yeah, around here it's
yeah.
all the bikini baristas.
Yep.
While
I mean,
it's
hey,
very,
we know what they're doing, and
it's
you know we
Mm-hmm.
kind of give them a tip. Be like, thank you for your service.
Mm-hmm.
it's actually Hooters is one of the last uh, masculine testosterone fueled type traditional places men have left in our culture. One of the last,
Yeah.
and it's going away. And I'm not surprised by it. It, you know, it is what it is.
Well, you
Um,
can't even have like a gentleman's club anymore.
No, not in
I
a lot
mean,
of
I'm not talking
places.
about a strip club. I'm talking about a men's only lounge where
Mm-hmm.
you can smoke cigars or have just a gathering place where there's alcohol or whatever vices are allowed in your area and just sit down and let boys be boys.
looking is not the problem. It's when
Sports.
you take action.
Oh, yeah.
It's when people take action that's the problem.
Well, we see it in just walking around in stores. I was out and about
Oh, yeah.
today. I'm seeing women from all ages dressing in very suggestive attire. Yes, I
Oh
know
yeah.
it's summer,
Oh
but
yeah.
you can also dress conservatively for the weather conditions out here.
Mm-hmm.
Human attraction, whether it be male or female, human attraction will manifest itself in one way, shape, form, or another. Whether all the restaurants in the world with the theme closes or not, whether you never have another Miss America pageant again that's got beautiful women in it, it will find a way to manifest itself. The attractiveness and attraction between the two genders will never go away. You'll always see it manifest in one way, shape, form, or another. Hooters is part of a bygone era in our culture that sadly is going away in favor of fat fucks. And I don't have a problem calling what they are: fat, overweight, obese, land well looking motherfuckers that want to complain when you don't include them in everything. And, sorry, you're not attractive. You
Oh,
are
I know.
not the picture of beauty.
I know I'm a fat, and that kind of eliminates me in very many things.
Well, I'm
I
talking
am
about
aware of the situation, but I also understand my limits. But maybe that's more of a guy thing versus ladies who typically think with emotion versus logic.
yeah. Well, when I say fat, overweight, I'm talking about my 1,000 pound life type people.
Yeah. Well, those
The
guys
ones
don't
that are
usually
in
leave the house
Mm.
either.
right. You know,
And
sorry, but
how one gets that bad? I mean, like I said, I know I'm a fat, but at least I'm not nowhere even close to that.
Mm-hmm.
sorry, but people do not find that attractive. That's not the
Nope.
standard of beauty.
Yep.
And the thing about it is there's so many people in this country that fit under that category that wants to be loved and accepted, and that's the one way that they want to be loved. And it just don't happen.
Mm.
You
You
know,
also can't force it upon people. So, like when we have mandatory people whether it's by government or by organizations, when they mandatorily say we have to accept these people as the way they are. We don't have to accept them. We could tolerate them, but don't put them in a position where it doesn't make sense for somebody in that body type to be there.
Well, you guys remember the eye cancer I gave you on my community tab the other day?
I have not seen your community tab in some time.
The fat, overweight Hooters chick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're trying.
I've heard that story. I
They're
haven't looked into
trying.
it.
The thing about it is, it's a business model that they know they cannot control without losing money. If you try to force fat people into those types of environments and put short skirts and all that stuff, it's going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to fail. So they know that the business model of Hooters is not going to work with, wokeness and trying to be inclusive and all that. People just ain't going to go for it. So what do they have to do if they can't beat them? If they can't join them, they got to beat them. So they're going to force them out of business.
And that's kind of a shame because, like you said, it's one of the last kind of mainly masculine areas in society. Like I said, most blue collar people, middle class, they can't go to you can't have a like I said, a gentleman's club unless it's usually typically very rich people or very rich membership, instead of, hey, how about just a men's only place but for middle class guys?
Right. Well, it used to be that
need that release.
It used to be that was the Elks Club or the Eagles Lodge or what was the other one?
Oh yeah, our
Moose
Elks
Lodge.
And yeah, our Elks Lodge here got burned down by arson.
Mm-hmm.
Human
beings.
And
you got to have money to join those now. Anyway, you were saying
human beings thinking that they can control, sexual attraction between humanity. It'll never work. Look at people out here right now, like Sean said a while ago. Look at how many people are out here now wearing, suggestive clothing, just out and out shopping or going to church, going to the doctor's office, or hell, even going to McDonald's. Right?
Oh, the leggings is the worst. I mean, I see short skirts, and I'm like, you're going out to shopping for this. You do know this is advertising your ass is available.
You can't control people's sexual attraction to one another. You can't.
Hey, Cliff,
it'll manifest
with a quote: "The raging golden eagle."
Mm-hmm.
They're fighting a losing battle. These woke people are fighting a losing battle. It's not going to work. Why are they not trying to get on to women for wearing all of these suggestive leggings and stuff?
Because that's empowering.
Yeah, at times they don't even know what a woman is, and at other times they know what empowering a woman is.
Well, they'll claim they don't know what a woman is.
Well, a woman empowering is anything that can give them an edge or an advantage over men.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's undue. We understand they have their advantages. Their sexuality is one of the greatest advantages that they have, but they're not satisfied with their ability to use that, so they make up the historical oppression. Like, we need to make up for historical oppression in today's era. No. Here's how we made up for it. They became legal persons under the law, and they were given their own autonomy under the law.
Mm-hmm.
And that made you equal, but you also have advantages such as, well, this might change depending on the way the Senate votes. You don't have to sign up for selective service.
Mm-hmm.
Every man has to, otherwise that is a crime. Yep. And you can go to jail, and you lose out on many things. You lose out on benefits,
student loans, all that shit.
Well, Cliff, Cliff is correct. I mean, sex sells.
Yep.
You're selling sex to the public. I mean, why do you think there's so many pimps out here that keeps these women in line making money off of them? Sex still sells.
And you guys are ignoring the quiet guy in the room. What the hell? You can't even say hi.
You're saying that.
What's going on? Just got here.
Some Nate.
Nothing much.
Not too much, Tommy. How you doing?
Yeah, you know, full of piss and vinegar as usual.
Right. Yeah, I just saw Sean's private message to me. That you guys are doing something on brewing tonight.
A little bit. We're talking about it off and on between Hooters discussion.
Yeah, we're waffling on about Hooters.
That come up, so I just decided to share my thoughts on it.
You guys are live for almost an hour.
Yep. They were waiting for people to trickle in.
Sorry,
we talk about anything, guys.
I'm a little out of it. Just got here.
It's all good, Nate.
Yeah.
We go back to brewing because you and Tommy are kind of the brewmasters of our little community here that I'm aware of.
I don't know if I can go that far. Yeah, the crazy organic chemists of the community. Yeah. Well, I've actually gone to like microbrew restaurants and bars and grills where they brew their own stuff.
Sure.
And their brewmasters have left, and people want brewery tours, and they're like, "Anybody here know anything about brewing beer?" And I raise my hand, and they're like, "Do you brew?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been brewing. Started about 15 years ago now, but this started maybe 5 years ago." And they're like, "I'll tell you what, you can eat and drink as much as you want. It's on the house all night tonight if you run the brewery tours for us." So, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd take that offer up.
You have to know. You have to know about beer.
Right.
Like I could walk into a commercial grade brewery, a microbrew, and just glance around, and I can tell you what goes where, what's the flow, how things operate. I've been brewing long enough to know how that stuff runs. You can hand me a shutdown brewery, and I could quite literally start brewing in a matter of hours as long as I had the supplies there.
Right.
And if you didn't have to sanitize everything.
That's part of the process.
That's part of the process.
Yeah.
That's very much part of the process.
That's just startup. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Well, with my background and my minor being in genetics, I have a whole different aspect of sanitizing when I sanitize equipment. I mean, I use the Star San stuff, which is probably one of the best sanitizers out it's like the world leader, and it's probably the best thing you can use. It's a little on the pricey end.
But it's not, because it takes so little of it to do the job.
Right, exactly. But what I'll do, go ahead, Tommy. I got a text message here. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, you get a quart of the stuff, quart of Star San, and 1 ounce of it will treat 5 gallons of water to make a sanitizer that is contact sanitizer. All you do is rinse the item with it, and it's sanitized. Yep. So all you have to do is make sure it's clean first, and then run the sanitizer across it, and it's done. Start brewing.
Yeah. I'm the OCD brewer. I will mix up 5 gallons of Star San. I have the Northern Brewer makes a fast wash. I will run my bottles through the dishwasher with the heat cycle, and then I pull them out of the dishwasher when it comes time for bottling. I'll pull them out of there, then I put them on the fast wash, and I fill the fast wash with Star San. So I go above and beyond when I do beer, and like I said, I've been brewing for 15 years. I usually brew probably 75 to 80 beer kits a year which renders me roughly 160 cases of beer
Well,
a
you
year.
figure a beer kit's 5 gallons and you're doing 75 of them. So 5
Yeah.
times 75, divide that by 40.
Right.
That's going to give you how many cases of beer? By the way,
So-
Star Sand, guys.
Yep, that's the stuff right there. But what I would strongly recommend when you're brewing is mix up 5 gallons of Star San. Your mixing spoon, I got a long, big whisk for actually whisking when I mix in my hops and when I mix in other things. Yeah, Broken Pine, that's making your own beer is really easy. The hardest part is spending the money on buying the equipment and having the patience.
Yep.
And
Oh, well,
if you can make wine,
if she's been making wine, he's got most of the equipment already.
yeah. Just the missing like the brew kettle,
Well,
and bottle capper, and
well, depending on how you're doing it,
or if he kegs it, yeah.
right? Well, I use bale style bottles.
Yeah,
I don't mess around with bottle capping. I just use the old girl style bottles.
yeah. See, I'm the one that I will do bottle caps because when I brew, it's usually I have a stash of beer at my place for, graduation parties, birthday parties, anniversaries, take them fishing, take them hunting. And that way, if I lose a bottle, I don't, I'm not stressing it.
Right.
I tell the guys, hey, save save the bottles and let me get the bottles back. But the town I live in, they do just after the National Night Out, they do like around the state fair time, they do a small city fair. Well, the fire department sells, they have a specialty beer tent. Well, I know the fire chief. What they do is they save all the cases of bottles for me, and they drop them off. They drop them off at my place every single day. So even if I'm out bottles, I've already have a renewable supply of beer bottles once a year, and I get on average about 20 to 25 cases of empty bottles once a year.
Yeah, as long as they're not twist tops, you're good.
Yeah. Oh no, they do all local specialty stuff that it's all the dark brown bottles. It's the nicer bottles like what Sam Adams uses. It's the really, really dark brown glass.
Well, and it doesn't even have to be the dark brown glass as long as it's not a twist top. That's the big thing.
That's the biggest deal.
Yep. Because you can't steal twist tops with crimp-ons. It just doesn't
you can't.
work.
No, it won't work.
No.
But getting back to like the initial brew, like I said, I will start mixing up 5 gallons of the Star San. I rinse out my kettle with Star San. Then I do a full boil. I'll do a full 5-gallon boil, 5 to 6 gallon boil. If you're doing an extract kit, which is what I would recommend for most people to get started with, you're going to get a cheesecloth bag, a bag of specialty grains, the specialty grains in the cheesecloth bag. What I would do is get yourself a large ladle that you can actually hang inside of your brew kettle, tie the cheesecloth bag onto the handle of your ladle, then hang your ladle from a cold inside of the water, then start your boil. Don't bring it to a full boil, bring it to about 175 to 180 degrees. Once you hit that 175, 180, let it sit for 40 minutes and continue to mix it. Then, once you have that done, you got to pull that cheesecloth bag. If you don't have a large strainer, you can get one through a couple of the brewing places, and then get a 1 gallon measuring cup. Put your 1 gallon measuring cup, then put the large strainer over the top of that. Then put that gigantic specialty grain bag. It's like a big tea bag for steeping. Put that over that kettle and it will continue to drip. And that's going to be very handy and helpful for one reason. Once you start following the directions for the beer that you're doing, especially with extract kits, you're going to get a plastic jug that's going to have a syrup in there. It's a reduced and a condensed wort for beer.
Yep, that's your malt.
That's right. That's your malt. And then what you're going to want to do is, before you bring it to a full boil, you want to ladle out some of the water with the specialty grains that have steeped in it. You want to ladle that into you want to get yourself about 3/4 of a gallon to a gallon set aside, because when you start adding that malt extract in there, you're going to want to have some water to wash that out. And that's where that secondary water is handy. Another thing is I would save the bag of specialty grains. And you're going to love this. Put it on a cookie sheet, set it aside until you're done. Add your malt extract, stir that in, and then at different times, depending on the beer you're doing, is when it's going to tell you, once you bring it to a boil, 45 minutes to end a boil, add X number of hops X number of ounces of this hop or that hop at different time frames while you do it. And the different boil times will affect how the hop flavor actually translates through to the beer. And that's why it's time to give it a specific flavor, because they try to clone some of your more popular beers. So once you have everything through, you have your grain set aside, you've cleaned out your malt extract containers, you're to the point of doing your boil, you add your hops through the boil. Then once you complete the boil, which is usually about an hour and a half, most of them are usually about an hour, then it comes time to chill. They make what they call wort chillers. Wort is unfermented beer. So what you're going to want to do is get yourself a stainless steel wort chiller. I dunk mine in the Star San, and then I drop it in the kettle and just run cold water through it, through that wort chiller, and just let it go. Stick a thermometer in there. Ideally, depending what type of beer you're doing, you want to target the low end on your build sheet, so to speak, for your beer. They're going to give you a target temperature range for the yeast that you're using. Let's say you're using like SO5 yeast. I think, if I remember correctly, it's 63 to 73 degrees for the target range for where you want to pitch your yeast. So what I would do is I would take that near the bottom end, take it like 65 degrees, so you have some room to work. Then you can either use a transfer pump or a transfer siphon to transfer out of the cooled wort out of your kettle into your fermenter. And what I like to do is, depending if you're using a liquid yeast or a dry yeast, just for getting started, I'd recommend just do the dry yeast. Dunk the yeast packet in the Star San, and that way it's clean. You're not going to risk getting anything on it. Clip it with a pair of scissors, dump the dry yeast into your fermenter, put a cap on the fermenter, put a bung in there that so you can put your thumb over the top of it, and then I just vigorously shake the entire fermenter. Mm-hmm. I've tried putting an aeration stone with oxygen. I've tried a bunch of different ways, and just agitating the fermenters has gotten me the absolute best outcome. And it's what I would recommend for guys getting started, just to not spend the extra money. And then what I'll do is, depending on the yeast, put it in a target spot in the basement or a place where I can stay mid-range of what that yeast temperature is requesting. And then I put a contractor garbage bag down, put the fermenter in the bag, put another bag over the top, and I let it sit for about 24 to 36 hours. And usually at that within that point in time, your air gap, your little, I recommend the 3-piece air gap versus the single-piece air gap. Usually you'll start to get active fermentation. Depending on how your active fermentation's going, side note, when you put your primary fermenter, you want to go to a 6-gallon fermenter because you want the headspace for the foam and the pressure. And And you can check it, and as you see active fermentation going, you'll watch foam build up in the top of the fermenter. And if it starts to get really close to that air gap, like 2-3 inches away, put a blow-off tube into a 5-gallon bucket of water or star sand or whatever you have handy. I usually just use the leftover star sand. Put a blow-off tube in there so it'll constantly blow, and if it creates a vacuum, it'll pull star sand up in the tube. It'll make it go above the water. I've never seen that happen in 15 years. And then the challenging time is let the beer sit for 1 to 2 weeks until the fermentation process stops. Once that's stopped, you can what they call cold crashing. If you have a refrigerator or a basement floor or something, you can put it down there and let the fermenter chill a little bit, or put it outside in the wintertime works for an hour or two. And you'll notice all the sediment and everything, all the protein clumps from the yeast are going to sink to the bottom. Take your transfer pump, sanitize that, sanitize your transfer line, sanitize your 5-gallon fermenter, your lid, your bung, your air gap, sanitize all that stuff, transfer and keep your transfer device maybe about 1 inch above all the junk that's going to build on the bottom. Transfer all that to a secondary, fill your air gap, set it aside, cover it, let it sit in the dark, and let it sit for 1 to 5 weeks. I've let them sit for 8 months when I've done lagers. And then once you make it to that point, you can, 16 ounces of water to, 8 ounces of corn sugar. You got to bring that to a...
Yeah, you're talking about natural carbonation, and
Right.
it varies by brew. But
It
yeah.
does. Yeah, you have to, and the directions will tell you exactly how much sugar to how much water to do natural carbonation. Transfer everything over to a bottling bucket, which is really easy to do. Use this, clean your siphon, clean your bottling bucket, sanitize the siphon and the bucket, everything. Transfer it from your 5-gallon, your secondary fermenter into the bucket, and you can go through and pull your clean and sanitized bottles, fill them. Make sure you keep your bottle caps inside a little container of star sand, and then you can cap each individual bottle, and then let it sit for about 2 weeks to a month, and it will naturally carbonate inside of the bottle. It's really simple.
Nice.
It's a bit of a science, and yeah, Nate did simplify a lot of it, and it all depends on your style and your beer you're doing.
Yeah.
The natural carbonation can be a bitch sometimes if you don't have a good yeast load, a good healthy yeast load in your beer when you do it. Normally it works just fine. Myself, I keg everything and force carbonate it with CO2, so I don't worry about it. All my stuff is unpasteurized though too, and then I've got a bottling system that I use straight out of the keg into the bottles, and then I put my cap on them. There's lots of ways to do this shit, guys.
Yeah. What you have to find what style you like. I do the completely naturally carbonated, unpasteurized, old school style beer that they used to drink 100 to 200 years ago.
Yep. Oh, and I do it sometimes too. I mean, it's not a big deal.
And you'll notice. I've brewed beers that are 4 or 5% alcohol. I've brewed beers that are 16, 17, 18, 19% alcohol.
Barley wine more than anything.
Yeah. But you can really play with and manipulate, and that's where the mad scientist in me has a lot of fun playing with yeast. And what I've done over the years is when I talked about that junk on the bottom of your primary fermenter, you're going to get a big cake. It's going to look like a big cake on the bottom.
Yeah. Big, nasty, kind of creamy colored slurry.
Yep. It's going to look kind of like a coffee with creamer color, like loose gel pudding cake on the bottom of the fermenter.
Or the shit that comes out of a really nasty pimple. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what it's going to look like. But inside of there, you're going to have some very weak, very specific yeast.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the stuff when we talk about yeast washing.
Mm-hmm.
You can take virtually any type of yeast and brew beer with it.
Mm-hmm.
Then what you do is you can start to basically manipulate your yeast, and take that cake, put it in like mason jars, put it in the refrigerator. It'll settle and separate. Then you skim the top layers off and do it again, do it again, do it again. And you're going to end up with a layer of active yeast on the bottom. And then usually what I'll do is DME. Tommy, I can't remember. DME.
Oh, dry malt extract. Use that
Thank
as your
you.
feeder. Yeah.
Yep.
And I add
Uh,
a little bit of yeast nutrient to it also, just to give it an extra kick.
yep. I'll do that. And then I'll also put, for every 2 cups of water, I'll put 2 teaspoons of sugar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can use
And
sugar
then
instead of the DME. Mm-hmm.
I use the DME, the sugar, and the yeast nutrients.
Yep. And that's the best
And
way to do it because that gives it the best chance to be healthy.
yeah. And then I have an Erlenmeyer flask. It looks like an upside down funnel. I have a mixing table. Tommy's getting one now. This is when you get to the crazy mad scientist brewing stuff. That's an Erlenmeyer flask. A mixing table, you drop a
This is
little
a 3
magnet
liter,
in there.
by the way.
Yeah. I have the 2-gallon one downstairs.
Oh yeah, those are way out of my price range.
Yeah, I have 2-gallon, 1-gallon, half-gallon.
Yeah, the 3 liter is a little less than a gallon, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about a mixing table.
Yep. Right there. You
Yeah,
drop
just
a little
put
magnet,
and this thing just
Yep.
spins the
and
magnet.
it'll spin.
Mhm.
And also, if you guys are a cold brew coffee fanatic, you can take that Erlenmeyer flask, put coffee in there, drop the magnet in there, and let it run for 24 hours.
Mhm.
And then you just got to strain it, pour it in mason jars, and you got cold brew coffee.
Yep. Yeah, and that's probably one of the best ways to get your cold brew to get the best yield too.
Yep. Yep.
And that's one of the reasons the cold brew takes so long is it's got to just leach out all of the
Mhm.
coffee flavor from the grounds.
Or,
but if you're using an agitator,
Well, the other thing you can do is go out and get a gallon of vodka,
Mhm.
get your Erlenmeyer flask in your mixing table and your mixing magnet, zest, 3 pounds of lemons, put the lemon zest in the Erlenmeyer flask, fill the rest of it with vodka, and let it sit and spin for about a week. And you're going to get some amazing limoncello.
Mhm.
It's going to taste just like lemonade, and it's going to go down just as easy, but you will hate yourself the next day.
Uh-huh.
So having brewing equipment at home it's an upfront investment. I'm not going to deny that. But if you can follow directions, if you can bake like a Betty Crocker style box cake, dude, you can brew beer.
Shit, yeah, it's easy. Well, did you guys see this that I popped up a bit ago? This
Yeah.
is an extract beer instruction sheet from Boom Chug a Lug, which is Jasper's home brew out of New Hampshire.
Okay.
I'm looking at doing this one with the acorns. I'm going to make an extract with the acorns
Yeah.
and then use that extract in the secondary with this brew. I'm thinking this would be really good. I'll probably not use the hazelnut because I just want the acorn flavor.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mhm.
Oh, you know what would be really good with that? Use the hazelnuts for a different batch.
Mm-hmm.
And with the hazelnuts, when you transfer from primary to secondary, put about 2 cups of pure maple syrup in there.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing I was thinking about with the acorns. It was going to be an acorn maple syrup.
Yeah, that could be really good.
That's what I'm thinking because the acorns have got a really mild and kind of unusual flavor that's not distinct.
Yeah.
It's real earthy, but yeah, they're hard to describe. They're not bad by any stretch, but they're just
Right.
They're not impressive.
No, no. There's an old George Washington recipe. It's Northern Brewer has. It's called White House Honey Ale.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that one. It's a brown ale, like a light brown, like a golden ale. I've done that one natural. Comes out great. Usually like 7.3 to 7.9% alcohol. But what I've done with that one is I've used lager yeast. Ale yeasts suspend themselves somewhere in the middle buoyancy wise.
Well, they're
So
top
they
fermenters.
well, depending on the ale yeast.
Right. Most of them are top fermenters. Your lagers are bottoms.
Correct.
Yep.
And what I've done is I've taken that ale kit and I've used lager yeast in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes out crisp, clean. It tastes like a honey butter biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes 6 to 8 months for
Yeah.
48 bottles.
Right.
If you do it the natural style.
Well, and everybody needs to understand lagering is a very long process.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But it is
takes time.
well worth the wait for flavor.
Mm-hmm. I've
And
got
you're
one
not-
going right now.
Oh, do you? Nice.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks into the ferment, and I'm going to transfer it to the secondary tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. And then it gets to sit for probably at least another 6 weeks in the cold in my refrigerator. I cheat, Nate. This is something we didn't discuss last night because I said I have a temperature chamber. I've got a refrigerator with a temperature probe and a heating pad, so that's how I control my temperature. It's just literally a little kegerator that's big enough for a 5 or 6 gallon, or even an 8 or 9 gallon if I could move one around. They don't make them anyway, so it's 6.5 is the biggest you're going to get. But yeah, that's what I use to do my lagering and temperature controlled brews.
Yeah, and that comes really handy when you start doing some of the exotics. You start getting into some of the crazy stuff. I'm fortunate enough that my basement usually stays fairly cool.
Yeah.
And I'm in the Midwest, so it gets a little brisk here in the wintertime. So I know of I know where my sump pump is in my basement. That water usually stays between about 38 and 42 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll do is I will actually submerge my fermenter in the sump pump crock to maintain that much lower lager temperature
Right.
when doing lagers. And that comes out absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm. And it's no different than what I'm doing. Yeah, I think I'm going to attempt an ale here shortly because I want something before the 6 weeks is up on this lagering.
Yeah. Now, I know I just kind of blew through the entire brewing process in 10 minutes or less. There's a lot of little cheat things you can do, like just before you bottle, if you have a dishwasher, put your bottles in your dishwasher so that when it's done, your bottles are still hot, and all you got to do is just run the Star Sand through them, which will cool them off. And what I do when bottling, because I naturally ferment and I naturally carbonate, I will fill a bucket full of Star Sand, and I will fill every bottle to the top with Star Sand, and that way I know I dump the bottle out, and then I fill it with beer, and then I cap it. And I've followed that process. I have never had an infected batch, knock on wood, in 15 years.
No, as long as you're doing that, you're not going to. You talk about using the dishwasher. What I do with my bottles is I soak them in PBW.
Okay.
And that's a no scrub, no contact cleaner. I mean, it's a detergent, but it's a high foam, so you can't use it with a spray thing. I also use this stuff for doing a sanitation on a keg or a
Okay.
big
Large vessel.
fermenter. Yeah, with my auto cleaner, which is a spray thing, because this is low foaming. So it does the
Yeah.
same thing as a Star Sand, but it takes a little longer. But it doesn't foam like the Star Sand does. Star Sand's worse than Dawn dish soap, man. It foams like a motherfucker.
I
Which
know.
is good.
I know.
It's good though. I mean, that's what it's supposed to do. But yeah, the Santa Clean, and these are all by the same company, by the way, 5-star.
Yep. Yep.
They're all great cleaners, and they've got a few others too for other. And by the way, wear gloves when you're dealing with this shit. If you guys do,
Yeah, because your hands will start cracking in a hurry.
oh man, you'll also get allergic reactions to it occasionally. I had a problem on the palm of this hand where it was a dry spot and it itched constantly. And I think
Yeah.
it was I had been exposed to the Star Sand a little too much.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable. And that I don't
Yeah.
use this hand for masturbation, so I was safe.
Okay. That's good. What I would recommend is usually for guys getting started in brewing, number one, extract kits would be the best way to go. They're quick, they're easy, not much mess, not much of a problem to do. But what I would recommend is if you know you have a favorite beer, start with something simple. A lot of guys like to have like Blue Moon, stuff like that.
Yep, those are easy.
Those are really easy to do. 1 week in a primary, 2 weeks in a secondary bottle, and you're done. And you got about 48 bottles, and you're good. So
Another good one, if you like Corona, that one's really easy.
Really?
Yes, okay. Corona is so fucking easy to make. And you know why it smells like skunk? It's the hops.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's not because it's green. It's the hops.
Alaskan Amber used to make this Imperial Red Ale that was just so delicious to drink. You don't even think you're drinking beer at all. It's like you have a beer tasting soda.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I would love to recreate when I get the opportunity to.
All you'd have to find out would be what hops they're using. And I bet you any money there's a company out there that actually has a clone of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. I mean, they call it Imperial Red Ale, but it's probably just a red ale. I think Imperial just means a certain level of alcohol content.
Yes, Imperial is normally a higher alcohol content. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've forgotten how many Imperial Reds I've done. I mean, I got family that love IPAs, and I'll tell you right now, if you like IPAs, what you do is, they make little, they look like a strainer. It's like two halves, like two strainers put together like a ball that you can clip together. And those work really well for doing IPAs. You just put another, couple of ounces or whatever the recipe calls for in these little strainer balls, and you just drop it in your secondary, and you just let it sit in there. Because if you just dump the hops in there, even if they come in pellet form, they're gonna shred. They're gonna collapse and fall apart, and you're gonna have a hard time getting that out of your beer.
Yep. You usually have to go through a filter.
Yep.
But aren't IPAs higher in content in general because the original recipe was to survive the 3-month tour?
The added hops. It's
the additional hops.
Yeah. IPA is India Pale Ale. Right. Yeah. And they are extremely hoppy. The hops are used as a preservative.
That's why I like the Imperial one. The Imperial, well, I'll just say the only one that I have the reference for is Sierra Nevada Imperial Ale, or the IPA. The IPA is, yes, you're right, extremely hoppy. but you get the Imperial one, you get the higher alcohol content, and the taste, I think, is better. I don't know what difference that they're doing other than adding additional hops to it, but there's an entire flavor profile difference.
More than likely, they've done a little bit in the processing. It's probably not the same malts altogether. And then the
Okay.
hops, of course, the hop levels makes a huge difference. I'm not an IPA fan. I don't care for super hoppy beers.
Me either. My brother loves IPAs.
Mm-hmm.
I've done some Frankenstein IPAs that I know what hops my brother likes.
Mm-hmm.
And Tommy, you're gonna freak about this. I put 2.5 pounds of hops in my secondary.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's not a dry hop. That's a fucking sponge.
But my brother loved it. I made 2 cases of it for him.
Ugh.
And I put
God,
it in it.
Disgusting.
It was different. It was God, what are the hops? Can't remember I know Cascade was one of them. Cascade hop was one. There's a couple of other hops, but they all went in different stages at different times.
Mm-hmm.
And that one I think sat for 10 or 12 weeks.
Right.
And my brother loved it.
Ugh. That's just ugh.
Yeah, I've been Frankensteining beer for quite a long time.
Yeah. I can understand dry hopping an IPA with 2 or 3 ounces, but holy shit, man.
Yeah.
And guys, when we say dry hop, that means after the secondary fermentation has started, you put the hops into the beer.
Mm-hmm.
Just by themselves. Normally your hops are done during the boil at different stages for a certain amount of time. When you dry hop, you're adding it after the fact.
I remember the recipe, but I haven't been to Northern Brewers website in a long time. They have their Dead Ringer IPA.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they still sell it.
They used to have their build sheet online, and that would be able. Do they? Okay.
Yeah. All of them have it on there that are worth a squirt spit. Yep.
Some of their kits are okay. I mean, like their White House Honey, that's probably one of my favorites.
Right.
I've done. Tom, you're gonna laugh at this. I've done multiple Czech Pilsners.
Oh yeah. I'm still experimenting with my own Czech Pilsner.
Yeah.
And I haven't got there yet.
I've done Austrian Pilsners, Bavarian Pilsners, Romanian Pilsners. I've done Austrian lagers.
They're harder than you would expect, guys. Pilsners are kind of a bitch. And so are lagers. They're a little tougher than you'd expect.
Don't jump into those within your first year. Keep it simple.
Do a couple of ales and some stouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe a Hefeweizen.
Yo, dude, yeah, hefts are probably the easiest to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably what I would recommend most people start with.
Yep.
I'm not a fan of them, but let's see. A real easy one from Northern Brewers, the Caribou Slobber, is really, really, really easy.
By the way, Sean, Caribou Slobber is pretty much a clone of Moose Drool.
Not familiar with that one.
Oh, you're not familiar with Moose Drool? That's a Montana thing.
No.
Okay.
I have not been drinking beer in a very, very long time.
Okay.
I've been sticking with gin drink.
What is it, Nate? Is it the Northern Lights one that is their Alaskan Amber clone?
I
think so.
Yeah, I think it's Northern Lights or something like that.
Alaskan Amber, I'm very familiar with.
Yep.
Another one that they make that is really, really good is their Spruce Tip beer.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely sweet, extremely piney. Like you do taste spruce pine in it.
Right, and it's probably got a citrus aftertaste to it along with the spruce tips. I would bet you actually use spruce tips.
It's been a really long time, but yeah, no, they use spruce tip, and well, this is Alaska. Our main trees is alder, spruce, and cottonwood.
Sure. Ooh,
People have been
here's
using
one for you guys.
spruce needles as flavorings for years.
Well, and you
Mhm.
use them as a vitamin C additive.
Mm-hmm.
You
Did
can get
not know
vitamin C
that.
out of them. Yes.
Yep.
When
Good.
you make
Yeah.
a
Spruce
spruce
tip
tip
does
tea,
taste really nice. If you just put it in water, boil it
uh-huh.
to create a tea.
Yep,
It's
Yeah.
spruce tip
gonna
tea
taste
is a
good.
great. It's a great citric acid. In other words, vitamin
Oh,
C.
really? Oh, yeah,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
of the vitamin C. So you
Yep.
could use it
Yeah.
as a natural citric acid instead of getting the powdered
Yep.
form.
You
Mm-hmm.
can stave off the scabies or the what is it?
And then
The
you can,
rickets or
well, yeah,
whatever
because
they are.
you're gonna boil any
Mm-hmm.
impurities and bad bacteria out
Yep.
of it,
Yep.
anyways.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. You can do all that. It's pretty easy. Meet Sean. I had a buddy that was stationed up in your neck of the woods, and he used to get fireweed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Uh,
fucking everywhere.
and what
You
he
step
would do,
outside without walking in it.
he would go and he would find as much natural that hasn't been treated with anything, because a lot of places treat it like a weed and
Yep.
spray weed killer and stuff on it.
Mhm.
What he's done is he's gone and he's harvested a bunch of it, probably like 2 or 3 garbage bags worth of it, and he'll actually steep it
Mm-hmm. Make a tea out of it.
and make a tea out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But then what he'll do is he'll take the leftovers and he'll make a syrup out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
And then what he'll do is he'll take that tea or syrup, he'll reduce it down to almost make a juice out of it, and then he will actually make fireweed jelly.
Mm.
Ooh.
Now you guys know why they call it fireweed, right?
I vaguely remember, but not
I
really.
don't recall.
Because as soon as you take some of it as a tea, your asshole's going to be on fire and you need to shit right now.
Oh, so it's a good
It's a laxative.
laxative?
Yep.
Okay.
Once you get used to it, it doesn't affect you that way. But when you first use it, you are going to shit like you've never shit in your life.
I really do need to go back into that Lost Age book that I picked up and start to try and find good ideas for natural remedies
Mm-hmm.
and natural teas and things like that. Because we go walk outside, it's readily available.
Yeah.
But we just don't know how to do it. Like dandelions, they're everywhere here in Alaska. But I've heard that
Dandelions.
they make herbal salves for certain diseases or certain treatments, but it's also supposed to be a good tea.
Dandelion is really good as a diuretic. So
Okay,
what it does is
another way to go shit.
well, no, it lets you pee, but it also helps you get all of the retained fluids out of your system.
Oh, the
In other,
ones that are not doing any usage as far as hydration.
right, it is a natural blood pressure medication.
Oh, I could probably use that.
Yeah, they call it they used to call them water pills, but they're based mostly around dandelion root.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Jammo in the house.
what we got?
Jammo.
That's all right.
Long time no see.
What's up,
I'm sure
Jammo?
he'll start talking when he's ready.
Yeah.
He might have kiddos around.
So, yeah, you got to be careful with some of that stuff. Dandelion root's a good one.
Is
The
it the
spruce
root
tip.
or is it the top of the plant?
Well, you're going to get varying degrees of potency.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of guys, when you talk about dandelion wine, it's the tops, the flower tops only.
Okay.
When you're talking about the teas and stuff, a lot of times it's the root.
Okay.
The greens are great for just eating like a salad. They're a little bitter at the wrong times of year, or if they're in a really dry year, they get bitter.
Kind of like a rutabaga?
Yeah, kind of like that. But you can use them as a salad green. If I was to use them as a salad green, I'd mix them with something like Rocket, which is, I can't remember the damn name of it. Rocket is a mustard green. And it's got a
Okay.
really, that one will also make you shit your guts out. Oh my God. I love the
Do you
flavor of
guys
it.
do any special treatment to make it edible,
No,
or just
rinse it
simple
off and
rinse?
rinse it off really good and chop it up or tear it up and throw it in, man. That's it.
Okay, that
But
might
the
be a
big thing
good
is,
experiment to do.
well, the big thing is where you harvest it. Make sure it's not getting sprayed, of course, and all that good shit.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because
that's
you don't
usually
want to be eating and drinking either A, fertilizer, or
or
B,
Roundup or
killer.
something. Yeah. Yeah. You
What's
don't
up,
want to.
crackers?
Sup,
What's
Gemmo?
up?
Hey, Jama.
So yeah, it's hit and miss. You got to really be really careful. That's like me with blackberries around here. I've got to be careful where I get them
Oh,
because
because they'll treat them.
oh yeah, they spray the shit out of them. Of course, they're an invasive species here, and they grow incredibly fast. They take over everything.
Up here in my area, there's a place called Hatcher's Pass. They've got, it used to be an old mining town that's
Mm-hmm.
now like a historical area.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom used to take me up there to go pick raspberries, blueberries, blackberries every
Mm-hmm.
year after the snowfall finally goes away.
Right.
This year has been a hell of a year because we had a really long winter and a
Mm-hmm.
very heavy snowfall, and now we're having an extremely hot summer,
Mm-hmm.
which is really weird for our area. Usually we're used to miserable summers, very wet summers,
Right. Right.
with a few good days of sun, but now it's just straight up sun unimpeded by clouds, very little wind. So the mosquitoes are having fun. Um, but yeah, it's a little awkward. I haven't seen this kind of weather since I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and this was normal back then.
Right.
So
Oh,
we're
we're just
probably
in that.
we're entering a period of it's been a long time coming where we're back to normalization
Mm-hmm.
at
Well,
our altitude, or not altitude, at our latitude level.
right. We're getting the cycle. The cycle is hitting everybody different right now, and it's just
A lot of
here
people
in.
are forgetting, because I remember it used to always be hot in the lower 48 every
Oh yeah.
summer. Every single
Yeah.
summer, always hearing about heat advisories, people. It's very, what is it, important for the electrical grid to not be taxed by AC systems
Mm-hmm.
because that would cause brownouts in the big cities all the time.
Well, and the biggest problem with all that bullshit right now is they went to all this renewable energy that can't deliver.
Mm.
And they
You
took
can't
all
keep
the
up.
no, it can't keep up, and they took all the surge providers like the natural gas plants and the coal plants offline and did away with them. So now there's no backup.
I think
And
that's a huge infrastructure failure,
it
because
is.
just
It
because
is.
it is a dirty, quote unquote, dirty energy source, you want it available in case your clean source
Mm-hmm.
can't keep up with demand, or there's an interruption in service. So let's say
Exactly.
if you're depending on solar plants, what happens if you're now overcast 90% of the year?
Right.
Or wind. What if wind currents change, make a dramatic shift, and now your windmills no longer move?
Mm-hmm. Well,
But yet you have the dirty stuff that is always readily available.
mm-hmm. Well,
Don't shut the plants down. Maybe put them
dirty
at
is
low
with quote.
capacity. Yeah, yeah, with air quotes.
Mm-hmm.
Make them still functional, maintain them so that when they need to be used as an emergency stopgap, you have lesser time of interruption of service for electric. Because like I said, what happens if AC goes out in hospitals and old folks' homes? People are
Yeah.
going to die of heat stroke real quick. And I'm waffling on. We're supposed to be talking about brewing. So
Oh no, this is
I'm
cool,
going to
dude.
stop.
this is actually what this whole thing was about. Broken Pine mentioned the last coal plant just shut down in Alberta, and they're
Fools.
fools. They are fools.
They are fools.
The biggest problem with the Texas power grid right now during the summertime is the fact that they've got a lot of wind generation. The time when the wind doesn't blow in Texas is the summertime.
Hmm.
That's when you
But
need the
Texas is
most.
pretty flat, though, isn't it?
It is, and it does not blow in the summertime.
Unless you're close to the core or the coast where you're relying
Even then,
on
it does
ocean
not.
current to generate wind.
Even then, it does not do that.
Okay.
That's the seasonal norm. Is during the summer months, they don't get a lot of wind, so these big turbines aren't producing shit. And if you're overcast because of marine interactions, then all of a sudden your solar is hurting, and solar can only produce so much. Honestly, it's one of the worst.
Oh, yeah. It has a finite ability, and
Especially for
if you're
large
going
scale
to use
production.
it,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But there's also so many or so much that the batteries can hold and charge, and the more
Right.
they hold, the more it leaks out or leaches. I don't know if that's a correct term, but any battery, it loses you can charge it fully, and if you don't use it right away, it starts losing electrical capacity.
Yes. Yes. Well, depending on the design of the battery, and there's different degradation levels.
Yeah.
Lithium's the same way. If you store a lithium cell, you want to do it half charged, no more than that.
Doesn't lithium still create, I believe the term is memory, so that if you charge
No.
it or overcharge it, it it hurts the components of the battery to where you can't get 100% capacity like you did when it was a brand new item.
Well, the biggest thing with lithium cells is they have a really bad problem with creating tendrils in the anodes or the cathode, one or the other. Anyway, they
Uh-huh.
create little spikes that short it out. It's a natural process.
Okay.
Lithium has a finite recharge cycle anyway. It can only be charged so many times before it's done. The cathode is degraded to the point where it's unusable because it degrades during the charge and recharge episodes. That's
'Cause I
one of the
remember
things they're
that.
working to fix.
Yeah, I remember that used to be one of the chief complaints about cell phones is especially when you had replaceable batteries before
Mm-hmm.
they started forcing or the manufacturers started discontinuing allowing people to have replaceable batteries.
Right. Well, and at that time you still saw nickel cadmium, nickel metal hydride, and those are the ones that get the charge memory. It's the lithium cells don't do that so much. The other thing is you cannot overcharge a lithium cell unless you overcome its charging control circuit.
We gotta sit
They
Louis Archer with some info. What caused the big freeze in Texas? I remember that because
Mhm.
it blew pipes out and places started
Yep.
flooding in the winter. Yeah, I almost
Yep.
forgot about that.
It allowed the cold to set in. Yep.
Yeah, and Texas is not used to,
Nope. The
or I'm
wind's
pretty sure
always blowing in
Rocky is not
Texas.
used to it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, that's why I like colder areas. Not just because there's only so many layers you can take off as
Mm-hmm.
far as clothing. Just it's in my thought process. I will take temperate climate over, or temperate to Arctic versus temperate to desert or what is it? Tropical climate
Mm-hmm.
any day. And the desert could go fuck itself.
Oh,
I
I
spent
love the
too
desert.
much time there.
Well, I didn't spend time in that desert, but I spent time in the high desert of Idaho and Oregon. because that's where I grew up. I love it, but
Yeah,
you just have to understand.
doesn't that valley kind of go all the way north
Oh, it
between
does.
California and they're not the coast states, but they are just
Well, and it's not really a continuous valley is the thing.
okay.
There's lots of river valleys. Where I'm talking about with the high desert was outside of the Treasure Valley where I grew up around Boise.
Okay.
The high desert is really just an arid plain, much like the plains of the Midwest, but it's high arid plain. So in other words, they don't get a lot of rain. There was a lot of prairie grass, but it isn't the same grass that you saw in the Midwest before they plowed it all
When you're
under.
saying high, are they higher elevation,
Yes.
close to sea level?
No,
Okay.
no, they're the higher elevation, usually in the range of 2,500 feet or more.
Okay.
Yeah, they call it high arid plain. And that's literally all it is. So you see a lot of scrub grass, scrub brush, sagebrush, buckbrush, as they call it, which is kind of a succulent type plant. Juniper is really common. Oh, look at this guy.
Was it that bad, Cliff?
Yes, and I still smelled it permeating through this.
So can you make
Oh,
the TIE fighter
no.
noises? Yeah, could you look like a TIE fighter pilot right now?
Oh God!
So what have you guys all been up to?
Well,
we've
talking
been-
brewing tonight.
Yeah, talking brewing. We gave Rhino some flack
Mm-hmm.
for a little bit.
What about?
What's up,
Oh,
David?
what about just him being a cunt?
Oh, gotcha. But no, I kind of took a hiatus so I wouldn't fucking snap on Jimmy.
Oh, yeah, well,
That little fucking comment he made deserves a fucking ass beating beyond this world.
let's not go there
Not
tonight.
going to that here.
Yeah. This
Alright.
is a chill scream, man.
All right. But no, dude, I haven't been around. Crap, when was the last time I even talked to you guys? Like 4 months ago?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's
I
been a
think the
while.
last time you were on Mando's show. On
Oh
Friday.
yeah. How's Mando been?
He's doing well. He's got a headache tonight, or
Well,
he'd be here.
he's got a migraine going on right now, so he's
Right.
not feeling too great. Otherwise, he probably would have hopped in with us.
I think he's watching on the stream. But...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I remember seeing something in Gilded that he was having some migraine issues here recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, migraines suck. I
Oh,
get
they
them
do.
once in every great while, but they're like they're a cluster. So it like takes over an entire like I usually get it right back here. And it's just like a throbbing, like you can it syncs with your heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A heartbeat goes up, you feel a throb here, and it like does a spider cluster. And yeah. It's very rare that happens. But the last time it happened, I was working at the neurology clinic. So there was a boatload of samples from other drug providers that address such kind of headaches and migraines. So that helped immediately. However, I don't have the same privilege anymore. So if I get that again, it might take an ER visit.
Yeah, I don't get headaches very often. When I do, they get shitty quickly. I might get a headache or two, maybe a year.
Yeah,
But when
most of it is caused by dehydration anyways.
Right.
Yeah, but when
mine
I do,
is
though,
sinus issues.
yeah, but when I do, they're pretty fucking painful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit. What's been new with everybody? I'm ignoring Cliff. We don't care about Cliff right now.
Nothing much, man.
That's good.
Everybody's
Cliff, how's your
kinda-
kid doing?
Cliff? Did you hear that?
What?
He said, "How is your kid doing?"
Don't have one, and if I do, he's probably over in Asia.
Oh yeah, it's your fucking brother. I always forget that shit.
Yeah, Brian. So.
Yeah, Brian's the one I like.
Okay.
Oh wow.
I kid.
I know.
Why?
I know.
Because
Hey,
I
you know
care.
what? That's okay. All the more homo suspicion points for you.
Oh,
Wait, I get
man.
homo suspicion points for not liking you?
Well, for liking Brian.
Brian's
Well, I mean, Brian's got
on
those
top
lips.
of out of service. Brian is also doing his own YouTube channel called
he went
Mad Army
rogue.
Vet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He
Pipe
basically talks
smoking and
about
drinking.
pipe smoking. Yeah.
Nice.
Which
Wait, what kind of
ironically
pipe?
enough, when I
is he
checked,
smoking
he
skin
was
pipe?
streaming. Oh, go ahead. Say again, J-Mo.
Is he smoking skin pipes or?
I don't know.
He's
Get
not
it? It's
doing
a
skin
cock
flutes. He's not doing skin flutes, dude. Just to give it up.
But yeah, no. Brian's streaming right now.
Oh, okay.
Is he? He didn't say shit, little fucker.
So are you guys not doing?
When it comes to his Mad Army Vet stuff, he doesn't usually provide notification.
No, not really.
That's
so
like
you got
his personal project, I assume, Cliff.
Yeah, it is.
So you guys aren't doing out of service anymore, or?
No, we're still doing it. It's just
It's still going.
circumstances kind of changed. Because I'm up at Killeen at my brother's house. I checked up on it, and turned out he didn't have power for 3.5 weeks. And I've been having so much fun clearing out his refrigerator, and it got to a point where the smell is just so ingrained in there. It's gonna have to get junked.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah.
Same thing happened at my mom's place. Either something failed with the fridge while she was in between getting set up for assistance care. And I went to go start doing cleanup at the house, and I opened the fridge, and it smells bad. There's mold everywhere, and things look like a biohazard that we need. What is it? We need somebody like Mando. Yeah, we need somebody like Mando or somebody in NBC to come take care of it.
That's why I went and got a painter's mask, because it has the filters for it. I can still smell that crap through it. It was.
Oh.
Yeah. That's how bad it was.
Well, Tommy knows about this one. So, one year, oh God, he was gone for 3 weeks. We're out there in Alaska, and all the deep freezer where we put our meat, it all thawed out.
Oh.
And not only could you smell it for about 3 square miles, it attracted every animal for about 6 square miles.
All the bears, all the wolves, all the coyotes.
Yeah, we had bears, wolves. It sucked ass.
The fucking raccoons, the wolverines.
Well, I mean, like, 2 of his windows got broken out. I'm still surprised this day that an animal didn't make it in. But I mean, that's something you're just not going to get out with Pine Sol.
No.
I mean, like, we got rid of the freezers. We ended up putting him in his truck and dumping him on the side of the road so the animals could eat him. But yeah, I think we aired out his house. We slept there with doors and windows open, knowing full damn well a bear was probably going to come inside.
Yeah, looking for that meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was bad.
Yeah. Well, it's lucky with his house is that his kitchen is in the back corner of the house. So it's kept it all fairly isolated. I went and got an industrial fan, and I just have the air just blowing out a window. So, and it hasn't reached the AC system and started circulating throughout the whole house. I think I've mitigated most of it, and I have those deodorizers, like half a dozen just placed in the kitchen. So I was like, yeah, at this point.
How did he not know he didn't have power for 3 weeks?
They never sent him a notification. The story is the company.
He doesn't live in the place.
Yeah, he's overseas right now. He's on assignment.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Brian got out.
No. This is his.
I have 3 brothers. Brian's my brother-in-law, and I have 2 older brothers.
Mhm.
So when I talk about my 2 older brothers, I have one, the engineer, and I have Mr. Nevermore. This is Mr. Nevermore I'm talking about. That's still in the military.
Mr. Nevermore.
Well, it's because he started off. He worked with Ravens a lot. So there you go.
That's what I was figuring, or either that, or he's an Edgar Allan Poe fan.
I want to know about that, but it was just the utility company came out, swapped the meter, and they didn't register the new one in his name. And then once the company saw there's a meter, it doesn't have this guy's name. That there's a house getting power to it. There's nobody's name on it. Yep.
Wait, aren't ravens like the smartest of all birds?
They're one of the smartest of all birds. Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
if you
I thought they were the
watch
smartest
Basic
'cause they could-
Geographic and his segments about ravens,
Mm-hmm.
they have the ability to take over as the dominant species on land because of their intelligence and their ability to work with other animals, because wolves and ravens have a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, they'll work
where
together.
They operate as higher recon and tell wolves where to go.
Right.
And they get part of the spoil of war.
Can't they imitate every bird on the planet?
No,
they
but
can speak.
They can do a lot of imitation. Yes.
And I've seen exercises where, let's say, there's a treat inside a clear tube, and you give a raven a stick. The raven knows to take the stick, and he'll put the stick inside the tube and push it all the way to get the treat.
Yep.
We got Jackal joining us.
Right. All right, I'm back. I had a phone call I had to handle, but
all good.
No worries, man.
It's all good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think we covered a lot of the brewing stuff earlier. Preserving, I think we covered a good portion of that. What are you guys just chatting about? Whatever now?
Yeah, we're just kind of bullshitting about spoilage, how to deal with the mitigation.
Wait, what are you guys brewing?
Oh, we were talking about beer brewing.
Oh, I got a good recipe for white light.
For what?
White light?
White lightning. Okay.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, well, that's a little different than beer.
Well, it's kind of the same process, just
it is
more illegal.
Well, it's not illegal. You can do it.
Sure. You're limited by the number of gallons you can make for yourself, and you can't sell it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, then I do it really. I'm just kidding.
My grandmother's uncle during Prohibition got a surprise visit on his farm by revenuers. He had 6 different vats that had 250,000 gallons of mash.
Holy shit.
Oh boy.
That's about 1,000 gallons of whiskey right there.
Oh.
He lived in a tiny, tiny, tiny little sleepy farm town. And one of my grandmother's oldest brothers said that he remembers when the men in fancy suits and automobiles came to town. And Uncle Alex, after the guys in fancy suits came to town, Uncle Alex wound up having a railway put through the back of his farm right to his barn.
Jesus.
The rail line is still there, but when the revenuers came and visited him, he did, I think, 10 days in jail. They dumped everything and they filled all of his vats with concrete. They're still standing there today.
I would
Nice.
imagine they are.
But,
So
That's
the
a hell
revenuers,
of an operation that guy was running.
but no,
they wanted to play politics, huh?
Yeah.
Tommy, I found a new system
Oh, okay.
recently. So now I let the mash sour,
Mm-hmm.
and then I throw Mountain Dew in there too.
Okay. Well, that's
just
just more.
because of the sugar.
I was going to say that's more sugar with a little bit of the flavoring.
Yeah, but
Most of that'll distill out.
right. But
Hmm.
I think the last time it was done, I did it with a guy I work with, and I believe he said it came out about 190 proof.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Because I remember he was sick one morning. He took my recipe and made some, and he wasn't sick the next morning.
He probably wasn't feeling anything that night either.
Oh,
Probably
probably
not.
Yeah. Well, most of your distilled liquor, you'll get it. The hearts will be about 180 to 190,
Right.
depending on how good your worm is. The biggest problem is you got to know the difference between the start and the finish. The heart is what you want, but the start and the finish are poison. You've got to throw that shit away.
Well, usually it's not the end that's poison. Like usually
Right.
the first pint to pint and a half is pure ethyl alcohol.
Well, no, it's methanol, the first part of it.
Well, yeah, but if you drink it, you're going to be sick for a little while.
Oh yeah, or make you blind or even kill you, depending
Well, I
on
did
the
all
purity.
right. I just can't see
That
shit.
sounds
Right.
that sounds
But
Dude, liquor is no joke. You got to know what the fuck you're doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's not like beer. Beer's easy.
Yeah.
You're not going to kill yourself ever.
like if you get the copper tubing wrong coming from the distill, that can screw with it.
Yep. If you use lead solder,
Mm-hmm.
if you use lead solder in anything with alcohol, that shit will create methanol, and that's what'll kill you. Yeah, that shit is no joke. Don't fuck around. Know what you're doing.
It also
And-
depends on how you clean it too.
Yes, it does.
Something my grandpa and my dad taught me when I was little. Go out and just go to Sam's Club and just buy yourself like 2 pints of ketchup and clean your still with it.
Yeah, ketchup
Because
works
ketchup
because
kills
of
all the rust inhibitors.
Well, it's also got all the vinegar in it that helps to break away all the grime and the nasty. You could do the same thing with vinegar and baking soda, in all honesty, but it's harder to clean up than the ketchup would be. But yeah,
and if you batch some up, try throwing some dew in there with it. It seemed to
huh? Well, like I said, I don't do distilling. Not into it, because your yield is always what drives me nuts. Because you've got to do, if you want a gallon, you got to do 100 gallons of fucking wort.
yeah.
And that just to me it's just the returns are not worth it. And I'm not a big liquor drinker anyway. I'm not fond of this stuff for the most
Well,
part.
neither am I. That guy and I, we just stock up for winter. Get a cold, take a couple swigs, cold is
Yep.
gone.
No, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing, man.
Tractor doesn't start, throw a little bit in the carburetor.
Throw a little bit in the
fire up.
yeah. And what you're doing is completely legal, by the way. You're not producing enough of it to become a problem to where you would have to have a tax stamp to sell it.
Right.
I don't know at what amount it becomes illegal. I think you
It's
have
like
to brew
500
over
gallons.
Yeah, some ridiculous number. I don't even think
Yeah.
I've done that in my lifetime.
Right.
I'm probably at 300.
Jamo, I got a question for you.
What's up?
You ever make Applejack?
Yeah, I've done Applejack.
The cold distilling, I've done it once, and it goes down like water. It's really easy to drink.
Oh yeah,
It's dangerous.
It's sweet too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the best
It's like adult.
Applejack.
It's like adult Kool-Aid.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
bad.
But you have to do it in like damn near frigid temps to get the best result.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to do it. The one time I did it was up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and we had 30 to 40 below zero for a little over a month. It was like 3.5 to 4.5 weeks straight.
Right.
And that was the one time I did it. It's like adult Kool-Aid. You cannot tell there's alcohol in it when it comes out. However, when you look at US history and they talk and you read articles and stuff where they talk about apple palsy,
Mm-hmm.
it's true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You're just messed up after a good bender on that shit.
That's probably the worst hangover I've ever had in my entire life.
Oh yeah.
All that sugar and all that alcohol, it messes you up so bad.
Right. Well,
Oh, yeah.
and it's funny because if you compare just regular Shining to Applejack, Applejack takes like weeks. If you really want to do it a good batch, minimum it'll take you 4 or 5 days. You do it in a still getting shine, it might take you 5 to 6 hours.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
let's give everybody an indication of what Applejack is. You're taking apple cider that you fermented and you're freezing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're pouring off the liquid, and that is the alcohol.
Yep.
Correct.
And you can do it over and over and
over again until you get all the alcohol extracted out of it.
We did it with Granny Smith's one year.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I did it with was it Honeycrisp and
Honeycrisp.
I did it with Honeycrisp and Dixie Crisp apples.
Dixie Crisps are better than Honeycrisp, in my opinion. But
both of them are a huge amount of sugar.
Yep.
Right.
But let me tell you, it took about a month to do it, and when everything came out, I wound up with about 1.5 gallons.
Oh, nice.
And
that's not a bad yield. That's not a bad yield.
Not at all.
No, I think I probably started with like 40 or 50 pounds of apples. Cider pressed them, went the whole 9 yards with it, and then I used champagne yeast.
That's probably why you got so much yield. Honestly, the champagne yeast is really good for converting alcohol.
And it thickens too.
Yep.
And it was great. I'm never making it again.
A kid at work actually asked me because he came into work hungover. He ended up falling out later at work because it was 97. But this kid asked me, he goes, "What's the worst drunk you've ever been?" Right? And I told him, I was like, it was when I was a Lance Corporal. I had $8 to my name, and a 6-pack of Schlitz was $3.99.
Jesus.
And if you've never had Schlitz, well, first off, it'll give you the shits.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
But
it's so high in formaldehyde, the hangover is terrible.
But that 6-pack will take you about as far as a pint of shine will take you.
Yeah.
I mean, it tastes like complete and utter liquid ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it'll get you to the finish line.
Oh yeah, that
you might not
terrible.
like the medal you win, but you'll certainly finish the race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like when I got those 2 bronze medals in the Special Olympics.
Yeah, very true.
Well, it wasn't my fault Timmy decided to stop and chew on the second hurdle.
I remember I never had Schlitz, and a buddy of mine.
Good on you.
Well, a buddy of mine went into a big charity fundraiser, and they had an entire pallet of beer.
Nice.
And it was 2 cases of. There's a grand total of 288 cases of beer. But it was 2-pack. It was the two 24-pack bundles of all these different beers from all around the United States.
Okay.
And my buddy's like, he goes, I really don't want it. He's like, do you want it? And we're like, sure, we'll take it. And my brother and I took it up north to go fishing. And neither my brother nor I ever tried Schlitz. We heard about it. We heard that it was the butt of like everybody's joke.
Mm-hmm.
We were up north. We were fishing. It was 90, 95 degrees, 90% humidity. And between lunch and dinner, we killed a case of 24 bottles of Schlitz.
Oh. Ooh.
Ugh.
God, a 6-pack's enough.
The next day was a complete wash.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You don't want to move after you
Oh,
drink
no.
Schlitz. Just like if
No.
you guys like beer, I don't know if you can order it. Look up a beer called a War Beard. War Beard. It's it's a pretty nice ale. But yeah, Schlitz is horrible. I'm not a Mickey's or a Heineken fan.
Well, Mickey's is fucking malt liquor, and that's just garbage.
Yeah.
I'm poor, so I grew up on
Heineken, I can tell you all right now, I will never ever drink it in the United States ever again.
Yeah.
Because I had
It's
it in
served better in
Amsterdam.
other countries, yeah.
Well, no, I had it in Amsterdam where they brew it.
Right.
And oh my God, it is a beautiful light beer served ice cold. It is so fucking good.
Well, it's just like it took me years to understand that Foster's isn't really Australian.
No, and it's
It's
crap.
not even brewed there.
And it's crap. It really is crap, man. Foster's is junk.
Like when I was young, it was all about beer pong. But you go cheap when you play beer pong.
Yes.
Right? And I'll always say this till the end of times. Natty Light is the worst beer ever.
Well, you know what you're buying, though.
Yeah, but like, I'll take Milwaukee's Best over Natty
Oh, the
Light.
Beast?
The Beast. My dad used to drink that one exclusively.
See, my dad's was, and I still can't stomach it to this day. I think I've had one or two in my adulthood, but he was the MGD drinker.
Oh.
He didn't like High Life. He didn't like Miller Lite.
I don't even. Can you even find MGD anymore?
You can. They don't sell in as big of cases anymore. I think it only had 2 drinkers in history: my dad and Ronald Reagan.
Well, and I don't even think I've seen it, and I don't know how long.
Well,
I think they discontinued it. I think they discontinued it in 19 or 20.
Yeah, and there might be specific markets where they still sell it because it did sell, but yeah,
Well, I think High Life kind of killed everything else that Miller offered besides Miller Lite.
Right, and you can find those two all the time, High Life and Miller Lite, all over.
Right.
When Coors and Miller pulled the merge, a lot of like the MGD and a lot of the other stuff, they pulled a lot of the brewing out of Milwaukee, and they sent all of it to Colorado. And there's only just some small stuff that's still made in the Milwaukee area. And then they started renting out their fermentation facility. PBR is made there. Blatz is made there. Leinenkugels will run out some stuff out of there. But they don't brew as much as they used to.
No.
You know, and I used to like Pabst Blue Ribbon. I used to like it, but it's so fucking sweet to me anymore. I just can't stand it.
I just love Pabst because of what South Park did with it.
Yeah.
I'm white trash and I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, that will forever live in my head.
Well, and if somebody offered me a Pabst, I'd still drink it. It's not a bad beer. It's just not.
Voodoo Ranger, I think, is horrible beer.
I don't even think I've ever heard of that one.
It's Nate, it was
IPA.
started by a couple Army vets, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and then they sold it to
Yeah.
another brewery.
But I mean, it's like 12% beer.
Oh shit! That barley wine, pretty much.
Yeah. Just like Brian or Cliff was in the military, so Cliff, you were in the military, were you?
Yeah,
yes,
he was.
yes, I was.
All right, so he'll remember this one because this one was famous. Nate will remember it too. It was called Sparks.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
I
yeah.
remember Sparks.
Oh.
God.
You talk about I give Sparks the second shittiest hangover I ever had.
Right. I never drank that shit. I just knew about it.
Here's the crazy part. You're blitzed. You're gone. But you still act and drive like you're fucking sober.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget the hangovers the next morning from freaking Sparks.
Oh
God,
dude,
We're
that
crazy,
just
just
hearing.
Just hearing the word Sparks gave you shivers.
Yeah, dude, you just gave me fucking goosebumps from that.
The good
That
old
stuff was-
days.
Oh, dude, that stuff was disgusting.
Or Crown Royal and Rippets. We used to do those.
Oh,
God.
You're
Jacob,
drunk wide awake.
Yeah, pretty much. What we used to do was, 20 years ago, Red Bull and Jaeger.
Oh yeah, the Jaeger bomb.
Yeah.
No, not the Jaeger bomb. We used to just mix it and drink it.
Right,
Yeah.
but I mean it's the same fucking
It
mix.
became the Jaeger bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we would drink it by the
you-
pint glass.
Right.
Me and
In
an
the
me and an
sandbox.
old roommate of mine, we actually did Mountain Dew and Grey Goose.
Oh yeah, that shit's
God.
good.
Until you try drinking Mountain Dew by itself and you're not getting drunker, so it doesn't taste any better and it just tastes like shit. I can't drink Mountain Dew anymore because of that.
Well, you know what was my favorite soda to mix with anything? And people call me crazy for it. I'll still always consider it top notch, was Cherry 7-Up.
I can agree with that, yeah.
That
That's
crap
pretty good.
went with anything. But like when
I
I
think
was go ahead.
7 and 7, Seagram 7 with 7-Up. So the
Yeah.
cherry
Oh.
7-Up with Seagrams would have been pretty good, actually.
Yeah. Cherry 7-Up, God, that crap's getting hard to find now.
Yeah.
There was another one. Nate will remember this brand because you could only find it in Iraq, and it was called Boom Boom.
God.
I was never in Iraq.
He was never
went
there.
Oh, okay. Well then, Cliff will know
Sean?
about it. It was called Boom Boom.
I don't remember Boom Boom.
I don't remember that one either.
Hold on. BEWM.
Oh, that
No.
one.
It was
Okay.
like their version of Spike, but the sugar and caffeine concentrate. It ended up getting discontinued because soldiers had to quit buying it. Right, but it was
Probably
like
caused a couple of heart attacks.
Yeah.
Well, it was like drinking 8 Spikes in a can a third of the size.
Oh, geez.
I don't remember Spike. Where I was at, if we're talking about local energy drinks, Tiger is what I'm familiar with.
Oh, I remember
Yeah,
that stuff.
That's
Hold
one.
on. What about the nastiest one ever? Old Glory. Old Glory energy drinks were fucking horrible.
The only ones that I remember we had access to was Red Bull, Rip It, and then the only ones that I knew that were at the Haji coffee shops was Tiger that I can remember.
Yeah.
But this is like, shit, it's been almost 20 years since my first deployment.
Which one of those actually was allegedly had amphetamine in it?
Monster.
No, it wasn't Monster.
It was either Spike, Monster, or Nos.
No,
Those were the-
Red Line.
those- oh yeah,
Red
Red
Line.
Line had the amphetamine.
I remember.
Yeah.
One of them had amphetamine. And it was like a huge controversy. So
Well,
How did
well,
they manage to get amphetamine behind the FDA?
Well, Coca-Cola still puts cocaine in their formula.
No, they don't.
no, they don't.
Just
That's the other half
let them
of the
wonder,
formula then to be
Tommy.
able to
Fuck.
figure out.
Redline was basically originally sold as a pre-workout, and they labeled it as natural and artificial flavorings.
It
Is
was
how they got
crack
away
in a
with it.
can. It was
Oh.
Yeah,
crack
yeah.
in a can.
It was.
Oh
It
yeah.
was.
Because once you had one, you had to have another.
Oh yeah.
Like, there was no stopping once you started.
Well, that's
No.
what amphetamines do to you, and that's what
what was
methamphetamines do.
it? The military banned it. It was not no-dos, but there was another popular one in the military.
You're thinking of bumblebees, and those are
No, it
awesome.
wasn't bumblebees. It was something else.
It was the bumblebee energy pills.
No, that might have been a Marine Corps thing. I can't remember the name of it now, but yeah, or
if you name any pill,
Hydrox something.
Oh, hydroxycut.
Hydroxycut. Yep, that's what it was.
I remember
yeah,
that.
people were having
story
heart
behind
attacks in running formations all the time until we blacklisted it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was also because you had a bunch of guys that were drinking like fish, and then they were taking that along with their workout. You don't realize that combination destroys your liver. Like the guys that actually were having liver problems were given full biopsies, and they were told they have the livers of 60-year-old men, and these were guys in their early 20s.
In their 20s.
Yeah.
Well, it was just like
That's why I'm not a big fan of pre-workouts, because I've had buddies give me pre-workouts. I do not like how it makes my heart rate race.
Right.
Yeah, I tried C4 once. Actually, I took it for a while. It was good for when I was doing triathlon training, because that was more kind of just get me going. But then I got the suggestion of, oh yeah, do it for a PT test. It works great for you. The problem is, after push-ups and sit-ups, you don't realize how exhausted your body is, and I barely passed the run.
Well,
it's a quick upper kind of.
It burns you out.
It just burns you out. That's it.
Nate still works out. I gave up on it, trying to get back in it, but he'll remember when this was available. Well, there's actually two of them. He remembers when Stacker 2 was available.
Yep.
Before that didn't that end up being completely illegal in the United States?
Yeah. All right, Jim. Well, I got an oldie but a goodie for workout stuff for pre-workout / post-workout / while working out. The old school Ultimate Orange.
Oh yeah, that was shit. Remember a Mutant Mass?
Yep. Well, the old school Ultimate Orange from the 90s, early 2000s, the International Olympic Committee banned that. The FDA banned that because it was basically giving you, it was probably the most potent performance enhancing cocktail and legal form of steroids you can buy over the counter.
Oh yeah. Well, it's just like so Nate, you remember when Mutant Mass came out?
Yep.
All right. So if you guys never tried it, you could buy a 5-pound bag of this protein powder, and it was about 100 grams per scoop.
Yep.
That's how concentrated this shit was. But you could buy 5 pounds of it for, what was it, $35 back in the day?
Maybe 30, maybe 35 with tax.
Yeah.
It was dirt cheap.
But, dude, you could do a protein shake of this and go pick up maybe a 20-pound dumbbell, curl it twice, and you were fucking ripped for like a week.
Yep.
And then the other one was, well, you could mainly get it in California or any coastal city or big workout towns. It was huge. Now they won't do it anymore, even drug dealers, but you used to be able to get liquid concentrated creatine.
Yep.
I now have heart palpitations because of it.
Yeah, creatine is not good for you.
Well, it's not only that, but when you do it in the injectable form, it's like a pre-workout that got put on steroids.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
I watched a Marine. He was maybe 120 pounds soaking wet. Nate'll love this story, right? Imagine, Crusader Nate, look at your wrist. That's probably about how big his upper arm was, right?
That's nuts.
He did 3 vials of this shit. After
Good
we
Lord.
told him to only do 1.
Yeah.
He puts up 520 pounds on the bench like it was nothing. Had a
That's
severe
crazy.
heart attack and died while benching.
right. That's
His
what'll
adrenaline
happen.
was so high.
Mm-hmm.
He was pronounced dead on scene and his heart was still beating.
Uh-huh. But he was gone. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
he
nothing they
was
could
gone.
do about it.
Yeah, he
Nothing.
was gone. And that's when we all had to fess up that we were doing it to the higher ups.
Mm-hmm.
And the only word we got was, "Are you guys fucking stupid?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Do
like,
you
"Well, you're always bitching
understand?
that not all of us are passing PT." And he goes, "Yeah, that doesn't mean overdose on creatine." I was like, "Well, fuck, I was just trying to get my pull-ups up first, Sergeant." But no, if you can still buy Mutant Mass to this day, but if you've never tried it, Tommy,
Oh God,
if you
no.
do, hold on, if you do 1 protein shake of this shit, and then you go to the gym and you just max out your curls, right? So like go to like 15, then 20, then 25, if that's your max or whatever it is.
Right.
Your arms will be that big for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with that shit.
No, that's bad.
Yeah, if you drank, because I remember, Nate will remember, Mutant Mass had a legal dose amount on the bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before it became fatal.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was 3 servings before you were considered gone.
Yeah, I think they were saying not to consume more than 1 serving per 24-hour period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you had guys like I used to follow him, I actually met him. You guys ever heard of Rich Piana?
Yeah, that name sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar, but I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, he was the creator of Mutant Mass.
He was a bodybuilder, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he ended up having severe heart problems. But he actually sold me the 5-pound bag of the vanilla because chocolate protein tastes like ass. And
right.
But he flat out told me, he was like, if you want to be courageous, do 2 scoops. If you do 3, you're probably not going to move around or poop for about a month and a half.
Right.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Well, and this is one of the things, that much protein in a serving causes all kinds of kidney damage.
Well, it's horrible for your heart because it can causes you can get chest pains from this crap because I get it all the time from it. It can give you indigestion horribly.
Right.
Because it's like eating 15 MREs and having it all just stuck in your stomach.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's where Big Boy Burger came in.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah.
What, the Big Boy Burger did it for you?
I gotta get out of here. This fatigue's catching up with me, guys. So
all right.
Have a good one.
Be good, man.
Good one, boss.
Thanks for the help, guys. I appreciate it. You have a good night.
Yeah, no problem.
Good night.
Yeah, I remember late 90s, early 2000s, the U.S. men's Olympic weightlifting, they, just before, like, Major League Sports got, found out about it, but a lot of guys were using the Ultimate Orange. It was quite literally a performance-enhancing, over-the-counter substance that you could take it. It tasted like an orange creamsicle, and it would put your heart rate at probably 80% max, and it would hold it there for about 3 hours.
Not
Are you
good.
talking about
That's
Orange
not
Dream?
good. No.
No, I think he's talking about this crap. We used to call it Orange Dream.
It's probably the same shit.
It was originally called Ultimate Orange. And it was quite literally, if you were to look at the chemical, the composition of it, it was legal over the counter, BCAAs, creatine, it had cholesterol, it had all the enzymes, it had everything in it for your body to synthesize testosterone.
Mm-hmm.
You can consume 16 ounces of it, and it would almost double your T numbers.
Jesus.
And you take that as a late teen, early 20s, and you hit the gym for 3 hours a day, every single day, and you work out like an animal, you become an animal.
Yeah, you are going to get huge and become that animal. Yep.
Oh yeah.
You will become a beast. I know a lot of guys that took it, and I remember when it was, I took it for probably 10 years, 10, 12 years, maybe 15.
Oh wow.
That's when I was in high school, they kept testing me for steroids.
Mm-hmm.
I was putting on 40 pounds of muscle a year.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing with working out, because when people work out, everybody has different goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I never wanted to bench 350 pounds. Never even had that on my mind. I just wanted to look like I could bench 350 pounds.
Right.
Yeah.
Get the bulk.
Right. But when I was little, I asked my dad before he passed away, I was like, what's the best stuff to take just to get big? And that's when he just gave me the best advice ever. He goes, listen, if you want to get big, eat big. You want to get smaller, eat less.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta maintain the physical activity to justify the eating.
Well, yeah. But
Yeah.
and then he also told me, never buy anything that's being advertised by Macho Man Randy fucking Savage.
Right. A lot of truth to that.
And I was like, well, why? And he goes, he does roids. It's not fair.
And it's not
it's
smart.
not fair.
But no, that was his thing. If you want to get bigger, eat more. If you want to get smaller, eat less. But he did tell me, and this is the best advice I ever got because I always followed this, whether it's muscle or fat, and he meant this, your heart doesn't know the difference.
Right.
Nope.
He just
yeah,
goes,
you
just
still
always
have
remember
to carry
that.
around that weight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no matter what.
Well, the one thing I learned in the many years of exercising and doing a lot of like insane powerlifting and stuff like that, the guys that look ripped aren't strong.
No,
Oh, no.
they're not.
The dudes who you look at them, they got a beer gut, they got an extra layer of fat on them.
Mm-hmm.
That son of a bitch will more than likely be able to squat 2 or 3 times his own body weight.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And he will turn you into a pretzel if you let him get a hold of you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like so at work, my boss has a weight room at work, right? And he has one of those old school, Nate knows them very well, the old diamond shaped deadlift bars.
Yep.
Like just the bar itself, I think it's what, 80 pounds?
I think they're 90.
Right. So I actually managed to deadlift on Tuesday. I got up 580 pounds.
Dude, good job.
Christ.
But here's the crappy part. We warmed up at 400, and now my knee pops a lot more. But my max in high school, when I was actually like healthy and in shape, I think the best I ever did was 460. I think that was the absolute max I ever did on a deadlift. Because my opinion,
go ahead.
I hate sumo deadlifters. I fucking hate it. Nate could go in there right now if he's as big as he describes. If he could probably sumo deadlift 1,400 pounds.
Oh yeah, probably easily 1,000 to 1,200.
Yeah, because that's not deadlifting. And I got shit the other day on Instagram because this guy put up, I think it was 1,100 pounds, and I was like, I could do that right now, and I'm out of shape if I'm allowed to do a sumo lift. If you put him in a straight up position like you're supposed to be on a diamond lift, he's not putting up more than 300 pounds, guaranteed. Because when you're spread out so far, your body's going to distribute the weight perfectly to where you can just up, down, done.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, JMO,
What
if you're somebody like me and does the Romanian deadlift style,
fuck that. You're courageous.
yeah, I Romanian deadlifted 675.
God, what?
Yeah.
I hate to be your knees when you're 60.
Oh, my knees are in great. Dude, my knees are in great shape.
Oh, mine are fucked. Must have been all that cock. But
yeah, Romanian deadlift Romanian deadlift 675.
All right, if you guys don't know what a Romanian deadlift is, explain it, because it looks horribly painful.
What you do is you position your hand. Your knees are about the same width as your shoulders, maybe an inch, half inch outside of either one. You can either do the flipped grip, the standard deadlift grip, or you can do palms out or palms in. And you basically roll the ball or the bar to the ball of your foot. You basically tension your back, keep your back straight, and you have no explosion up. It is full force, complete, dead still, stand up, glutes, legs, and you basically lock out your lats. Your entire back is locked in a rigid form, and you are doing a true solid deadlift.
Yep. So diamond deadlifts cheat that system quite a bit. So if I was to go do a Romanian deadlift right now, I could maybe do 400 to 430.
Mm-hmm.
And that's if I warmed up good before it. Diamond deadlifts are easier because your body has to be a certain way to pick it up. You can't cheat it. You could roll the bar as much as you want, but you basically always pick it up in the same position.
Yep.
But you can't sumo a triangle either.
Nope.
Or diamond.
You can't sumo. You can't do you can't cheat on a Romanian deadlift.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
If you sumo a Romanian lift, if you manage to pull this off, you just blew out at least one knee.
Well, you at least herniated 2 to 4 discs in your back as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can, but the form and the technique needed for a Romanian deadlift doesn't permit sumo style deadlifting, or doesn't permit any kind of rock or any kind of a shifting in the deadlift or any kind of a hip thrust to kind of boost the bar. Yeah. Romanian deadlift 675.
Yeah, that's if I ever go to your part of the United States, I'm never working out with you. I hate motherfuckers like you. Because, like, you go to the gym, right? And you're just like, all right, cool. You know, I can curl my 35s, get a decent workout. And then some dick like Nate pulls up. I was like, oh, you need the 40s? No, 75s. And you're just like, what a cunt. I'm leaving.
Well, Jay, you'll laugh at this. Last summer, there were a bunch of, like, young high schoolers, like late teens, I think, like junior, senior in high school, or maybe they just got out of high school. Young guys, they're at the gym, and they're trying to act all hard and all tough. They thought they were badasses, and they're occupying one of the corners for deadlifts. And I looked over and they had 315 in the bar, and they're acting all tough, and people are kind of avoiding them. And so I decided I go over to one of the other corners, and I was just doing single arm bent over row with the landmine with the bar in the corner.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I was single arm bent over row 180.
Jesus.
And these kids were just getting kind of mouthy and kind of, being jackasses, and they're going around and like pushing weights around other people. And I just walked up to him like, hey, I said, so you guys got 315 on the bar. When you decide to up the weight, is it right if I work in? And this one kid, one little, about maybe 18 years old, 18, maybe 18 or 19. He looks at me, he goes, what do you think you can do, old man?
Oh, oh.
I'm like,
I'm guessing you shut his cock holster.
I just looked at him. I said, all right. I said, you guys mind if I take the bar and do a warm up? He goes, yeah. He goes, 315 good for a warm up. I said, no. I said 505.
Yeah, you're like I had this buddy, may rest in peace, Traval. I think I told you about him. He was 6'8", 285.
Yeah, you told me about him.
But I'll never forget, we were at the gym.
That's a fucking giant.
Oh, he was a fucking tree. I mean, I never saw that guy get knocked out. I watched him knock a guy out by shaking him one time.
Yeah,
that was interesting. But we were at well, if you've ever been to California, there's this Muscle Beach is like famous for bodybuilders.
What is Roxy doing?
She's getting up on the bed. No, you need to get down. The laundry's up there.
Oh. So there's this bodybuilder, and he's over there doing about 400 pounds on the bench, right? But he put it up 17 times. So I was like, all right, well, he's strong. But how he caught Travol's attention is he kept making sounds.
Oh.
And that was like one of Travol's pet peeves. You're going to go to the gym, you can do it quietly.
Yes.
You can breathe heavy, but you don't have to yell every time you push a bar up. Right?
Yeah.
So Traval goes over there, and he even did it nice. He goes, hey, look, like, I know you're trying to motivate yourself, but, like, I'm working out, and you're fucking making me laugh. Stop making noises.
Yeah.
And this guy looked at him dead in the eyes, and he was probably a good 6'2", 6'3". I'll never forget, he looked at Traval and goes, listen, just because you can't do it doesn't mean you have to mess up my workout. Traval goes over there and starts curling it.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
He was just so naturally cock strong.
You guys were talking about differences between ripped guys and non-ripped. I think this dude is the personification. This is Anatoly. If any of you are familiar with him.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, dude's a beast.
But he's like, what, 180 pounds best?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He walks around with it, drops it.
So, well, I need just I will put it back. No worries. No worries.
Well, the big thing with him though, and the reason why guys his size,
the fake, no. No. This was like, okay, no worries. I just put it back. That's what they said. Like, it feels like fake.
Yeah. Yep.
So the big thing with guys like him is they're snap lifters, and those guys can do a lot of weight really quickly. I can't snap lift. I don't know if Nate can.
No.
Snap lifting is like a whole different ball game of muscles. Those guys have like muscles on muscles on muscles in their legs.
But he can lift that maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And he's done.
Yeah, well, he's a snap lifter.
Yeah. Now the dude that was training with that dude is training for muscle exhaustion, and that dude is like training for a hardcore, professional athlete. He's definitely somebody that's working for endurance. Right. 2 different animals.
Right.
Snap lifters are short to the point, and then they're done.
That's funny.
I'm serious.
Pick it up and move it. And then put it back.
there was a snap lifter that used to come to 24-hour fitness when I was in high school, right? And this guy would one arm quickly pick up like 280 pounds and then set it back down.
Mm-hmm.
But like Nate said, he'd only do it once, maybe twice. And that's all he could do for that entire workout.
Mm-hmm.
Because he just put all of his energy into 2 lifts. But like I remember when I was doing, I tried squatting. The best. What's your highest squat at, Nate?
605.
Okay, I never got that. I got up to about 540, and then I blew my
Okay.
calf out. That was a fun experience.
Yeah, that's dude. Once you break 315 on a squat, you are in hernia territory. You are at the point of tearing tendons. You are at the point of doing major damage.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, it was just like one of my favorite workouts. I love doing lat pull downs.
Yep.
Just because I've
Me too.
always been decent at them, right?
Yeah.
And it's a good
yeah.
workout, especially for the back of the arms.
Oh yeah.
So I went to the YMCA with my wife and my kids, and I was just up there, and I was just doing 80 pounds, right?
Okay.
Well, this kid came up and he goes, "Well, let me know when you want to raise the weight." And I was like, "Well, where do you want it at?" Because it went up to I think 140. And the kid goes, "Oh, well, I'm not going that high." And I was like, "Well, tell me how high you want to go, because I want to try it first." And he goes, I like my 120s. So I did turn it a full set of 20.
Yeah.
I set him down, and this kid's just eyeballing me, and I was like, "All right, you're up." And he got out 20, and I was like, "All right, let's max it." He goes,
Yeah.
"Why?" And I was like, "I just want to see if I can do it. If I tear something, it's my fault."
Yeah.
I go down, I do a set of 10. After that, I was spent. I was like, never mind, that was good enough.
Yeah.
I wasn't going
So
for the
a
full
little
set.
more on Anatoly. Jumpsuit, out of jumpsuit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's probably no added things to it. Probably close to all natural. He's probably done some, but I think that's more of a natural build than
a lot of that is
everybody else too is because what is it? You go talk to the gym bros and ask, "Hey, how do you get this big, oversized, without using supplement or using illegal supplements?" He's like, "You don't." Every one of them will say you can't get that big without some unfair advantage.
Well,
You
you
can.
can. You can. You just won't be as cut.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You can.
So
you won't be
like the mountain or
Well,
Ed Hall.
Yeah.
No,
the way you,
but Eddie Hall's eating regimen is fucking ridiculous.
the way you look like those guys, the mountain, the way you look like those guys, the way you build to be like that, that's decades of weight training, diet, and these are guys that actually are using doctors in biomechanics, doctors in kinesiology. That's how you do that. That's the only way you do that.
That can't be a cheap way to keep or a cheap staff to keep around.
It's not.
It's most of those guys that get that big and get that strong, most of them end up being sponsored and their life is lifting.
Yeah.
That is what they do for a living.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that there's any worse life than that.
Oh,
there is.
If you got paid to go to the gym every day, that's fine. But
yeah, I'd do it. I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Right, but the discipline these dudes go through is bar none hard.
Yeah, hardcore.
I've heard that thing about people who are just lifelong athletes. Like, they're not going for competitions or rarely go for competition. It is either self-sculpting or just their idea of personal improvement. The discipline required to do that means you don't go out drinking with your buddies.
Nope.
You don't engage in activities that has any detriment to your body so that you lose progress. because it's all about gaining more progress, like it's a video game where your entire focus is gaining XP to get to the next level.
Yep, that's
to be able to
exactly what it's
do
like.
a different kind of lift or more heavy weight.
Right. But
It's
when
exactly
you,
what it is.
yeah, you know, and to Nate's point, when you look at like World's Strongest Guy or these bodybuilders, granted the outside supplements are still there because they're always going to be there, especially when you're a competition bodybuilder.
Mhm.
But when you're someone like Eddie Hall, he doesn't do steroids, but that dude's eating regimen is
Oh,
we're
yeah.
talking 25 egg whites every morning,
Yep.
15 egg yolks, 4 bowls of oatmeal, and he hits the gym exactly 1 hour after he eats.
Mhm.
Dude he wakes up like
Oh,
every 2 hours
Fine.
and just
To
eats
eat.
egg whites.
Yeah. That guy live because what is 20 egg whites? That's about what 102 grams of protein right there.
Yeah, it's a little over 100 grams of protein. Yeah.
Is that where the most of the protein is? Ooh.
No. Actually, in the yolk, there's more. And that's the thing. A lot of people think egg whites are great, the better for you, but actually, if you're doing hardcore training like that, the yolk has the cholesterol in it, has a greater density of protein in it. It has more minerals in it. The yolk actually has more of a punch than the white. Just the white is a lot easier and simpler for the body to digest.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, there are many uses in cooking for the yolks because you can make your mayonnaises or your sauce bases that way if you're not going to use the whites. But no, I just because what is it? The most I know about eggs is they're supposed to be around 6 grams of protein, and that's about my limit. But I do know that some people will separate their yolks and whites. But
Yeah.
I've
Well, some
never
people will
understood
just eat the
why.
yolk.
Now,
Mhm.
now I
Yeah.
understand that if it's easier to digest and get into your system, and when you're
Yeah.
min-maxing your diet on performance, I could see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like when my goal was I wanted to be able to deadlift 675 by the time I turned 40. And I got to the point where the blockchain amino acids, the BCAs, consuming and timing when you consume a BCA, when you consume a protein, how much of each one you consume, how much you're working out, how much water you're consuming, how much vital salts you're consuming, what time you're consuming these things. That was the level I had to go to.
Yeah.
But you figure for an average Joe, your average dude you see walking around the street, your local state games or whatever like that for powerlifting or deadlifting or anything like that. If I would have went in to like the just the average Joe like state competitions, like for deadlifting, and if I would have pulled up 675, I would have walked away with it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else there, I went to one once. I didn't compete. They were doing like 380, 405. So I know if I would have went in there and pulled up 675, I definitely would have been approached.
Mhm.
And when you get like the big thing that people don't understand is there's even if like Nate's obviously probably the most muscular guy in this party, right?
I don't know
What
about
people
that.
don't but here's the thing: what people don't understand when you're that size, maintaining becomes like 90% of your effort.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Well,
I was in the military and I was 170 at 8.4% body fat, right? Believe it or not,
yeah.
that was a 5,000 calorie a day diet
Yep.
with
I can
like
imagine
200
that,
grams
yeah.
of protein to back it. And that was
Yeah.
just to maintain. That wasn't even improving.
Yeah.
So it's once you get to that level, it takes even more discipline once you're there just to maintain it. The hell with you want to get bigger, you can still do it. But the
Yeah.
journey to just maintain is 9 times harder than just getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, I mean, I was able, I really pushed myself, and I that was my goal. I wanted to see if I can put myself in the top 1% of men weightlifting globally. If I could do every single lift that put me in the top 1% of men globally for weightlifting.
Right.
That was my goal, to be able to do that by 40.
Well, at 675, you're there. I mean, you're actually probably even higher than the 1%. You're probably in the 0.8s.
Yeah, you're like a 0.1%. Yeah,
Yeah.
bench, I had to put up, in order to be in the top 1%, I had to put up 315 for bench, and I did 405. Which, if you understand, benching 405 is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Well, doesn't the NFL Combine just for their bench set? I think it's what 210, but it's the multiple reps that they
Yeah,
count.
Yes, I
it's
think
250 at the most reps.
Yeah.
Okay, 250.
So
But you guys are talking about nearly not double, but 175%. Just
Yeah.
pushing that on your regular.
yeah. Well, I'm 6 foot, like 220, 225. So for me to be able to bench 405, for me to be able to deadlift 675
Mm-hmm.
and squat 505, 605, me. They say usually, 1.5 times your body weight is ideal. If you can do that, you're in the 1% range of people globally. If you can do 1.5 times your body weight
And
on
I
those
think
lifts,
I
yeah,
think that's funny, Nate. I weigh more than you, and I'm 5'9".
You fat fuck.
I am. Well, dude, imagine this, though, and this is actually a question I had for Nate. So
What's that?
almost 2 years ago, on July 26th, I was 378 pounds.
Jesus.
Fuck.
I'm down to 247 right now.
That's pretty
Good
goddamn
job.
good.
God damn.
Yeah, keep it
You're
up.
making like Edmund level progress.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I'm still walking 10 miles a day at work, still picking up timbers, still sweating my ass off.
Mhm.
But now I'm at a plateau level. I can't get any lighter.
You will.
You will.
No, I understand I will. But, I mean, I'm pounding water. There's no more regular soda. I still have diet soda maybe twice a week. So the aspartame levels have come down. But when Rhino talked to me about this, he was like, dude, you got to cut carbs. And I was like, you can't in construction. You can't just kill
No.
carbs.
No, you can't.
You gotta have
No.
You're gonna fall
You gotta
out.
have you gotta have that quick reaction energy.
Yeah.
You gotta have
Right.
It
easily
takes a while
Yep.
to process.
Well,
easily available energy.
Well,
Mhm.
according to one of these trainers I talked to, right, and I like him because he doesn't talk down to you just because you're bigger.
Yeah.
He just gives you advice. And I was like,
Mhm.
what's a healthy carb intake that won't kill me for energy? And he goes, 40 grams of carbs. Just don't get it from white bread.
Mm-hmm.
What I giving a definitive mark on protein, carbs, things like that, water consumption. I can't remember the exact formula. I have to talk to my buddy Eric. He's got his PhD in biomechanics, PhD in kinesiology. What else? He's an MD, and
I get it. He's a smart motherfucker.
and he's a personal trainer
He's a
who trains
dietitian.
professional.
A real
Yep,
dietitian.
and he trains professional athletes
Mhm.
for a living.
Well, one of the crappier things about me is I have my dad's body type, right? So my dad was as strong as they came, but he was
Yeah.
never overly muscular.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I think at one point in my life I had visible bicep muscles.
Okay.
But it throws everybody off when I'm at work because the average 6x6 8-foot timber weighs about 70 pounds, right?
Yeah, about that. 70, 80 pounds roughly.
I can carry 3 of them a couple football fields at a time.
Yeah.
And it throws these young buff kids off because they're like, dude, I don't get it. And I was like, dude, it's just, well, I mean, I always break it down to work ethic. I mean, the hell, if you're going to try, you might as well go for the gold.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And if you want to start, like, have you looked at like your body fat index and stuff like that? Have you looked at
So
where?
if I go off military standards, right now I'm a little above 38%.
Okay.
But that's just height, weight, and wherever the BMI puts you
Yes.
without
So
considering
Yeah.
an actual pinch test or
Yeah,
a
so
water
like
displacement test.
right.
Yeah.
So like at 5'9", so I'll put it to you this way: at 6 foot, his BMI would max him out around 210, 250. At
Okay.
5'9", my absolute max is 182.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I'm
Okay.
65 pounds beyond that 182. Now,
Mhm.
granted, I'm happy because it's not 378. I can breathe better. I can move better.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's
just,
great.
I wanted to, my goal by my 35th birthday was to be down to 190. And I've got
Ooh.
a month and 21 days to do it.
You're not gonna make that.
No.
I'll tell you right.
But I am going to try to
Um,
cut 20 more off.
Sure.
I've tried to explain this to a number of people. And I've learned this from some experts. When it comes time when your body starts to plateau at a specific level, you're doing your usual thing, you're drinking the water, you can quite literally eat anything, whenever, however, and it doesn't affect you. The one thing that will start to change your body is create muscle confusion, different exercises, mix something up, add something extra into your daily regimen or your daily routine. Something as simple as picking up a weight vest to walk with and start with 5 pounds in the vest for 1 to 2 miles. Mix that in every now and then. Sometimes you walk with it, sometimes you don't. Then as it gets easier and easier and easier, you can add more weight to the vest. That will help a great deal. That'll kickstart your body to start going after body fat. That will help along with I've heard it called intermittent fasting or time restrictive eating, depending on how you want to look at it. If you can start narrowing down your consumption window, because so many people do a hard snap on that, and that just spikes cortisol levels, and that will reduce your chances of losing body fat. What you're going to want to do is you want to slowly wean yourself off. Let's say you have a 12-hour eating window. Do a 12-hour eating window for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, knock it to 11. 2 weeks later, whittle that eating window down more and more and more, along with adding the extra 2 pounds or 5 pounds or 10 pounds. Start light with with an extra mile or two of walking. You mix those two things together, your body is going to go into a fight or flight response where it knows it's getting food at an abundance, and it's knowing that it can actually take in and maximize it because you only have, a gorging moment, so to speak. Your eating window is so small in your day, your body's going to learn to be more and more efficient with it, and then mixing up the muscle confusion of adding that little extra weight when you walk. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. That's going to confuse your body to look at burning and using energy more efficiently. And when you do that, it develops a different type of muscle fiber. building that muscle fiber actually consumes more calories while you rest. And having that different muscle type within your body will start to consume more and more and more calories to build that, because you're doing new routines, you're doing new physical activities that your body is not used to. Your body is trying to adapt to it, and that will kind of kickstart you into losing weight in a different in a different pattern, in a different way that your body is responding to what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, because that sounds a lot better and a lot cheaper than going keto.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Hey guys, I'm gonna end the stream right now.
All right.
But let's we'll keep the backstage open. So and there's nobody in here anymore anyway. There's like 2 of us watching, which is
and
me
it's
and
probably
Sean.
people. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got it up. So anyway, let's end that stream and done.